my goodness. Wow.
He might call.
Wow. Welcome, everyone. We are back. It is Tuesday. It is that day. GG Millions, the third episode of 2025, season one. My man, Alex Theologis, is in the building. Alex, the legend from online. He's also scored a lot live. Welcome. Thank you for the time. Please tell us about yourself, man. How are you doing? Where are you? Thank you for being here.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I'm doing great. Right now, I'm back in Greece, visiting some family, and yeah, just very excited to do the show.
We've played before. We've battled. I've known you for a long time. You also do some amazing coaching work, and you're in and stuff. We're going to talk about all that a little bit later. We got a few hours together today for a very exciting final table. I know you know some of these players. You're familiar with them. We're going to lean on you for some analysis. You can see a very impressive resume, some big scores, also a World Series of Poker online bracelet. So you know your way around online poker. We're going to get to lean on you today. Let's take a look at last week. I think we're going to get to go right in and get to see Panakovs. This player, you know him, Alex. He is a player, has so many results live and online. How familiar are you with Alex, and what does he do that makes him such a superpower?
Yeah, he runs good, obviously, that's all. No, he's a great guy as well. He's one of those people who is a great player, a great guy, and also he comes off as very smart. I think we're fairly friendly with each other. We talk a lot in live stops, and yeah, I'm sure he played very well to win.
I love it. Well, let's get to see that actual hand. You can see the Queen 4 off, the blinds at 100, 200. You're going to see Pascal Lefrancois, great player. He's heads up. He goes ahead and limps, and this is a hand with Queen 4 off. What do you like to see here? What do you think is standard? I guess he just rips it. And is that a little bit adventurous, or is that standard?
Yeah, so with this stack size is about 15 blinds deep. You're supposed to be jamming from the big blind a lot of those one high card, one low card kind of hands. Usually you want to do it a lot with King X, like the King Deuce off, King 3 off, hands like that. But yeah, I think using Queen 4 off, Queen 5 off, this kind of hands is also perfectly fine. I don't think it's like a full frequency, always jam hand, but I think it's definitely fine and GTO approved.
Okay, well, look, it was fine because Panakovs went ahead and got another title. He has done that so many times. I know very close with Michael Joseph, who's, I think, a 6 or 5-time guest on the show, and Panakovs has mentioned about coming on. Love to have him if he's watching. Love to have him on the future. I think you said you're familiar and know him as well. Just a guy that just is one of the pillars on the GG Millions, the Champions League of Poker. He gets it done so frequently. Did it again from behind there, was covering, got the win. Let's go ahead and now dive in and take a look at the all-time. I think we're going to get to see where that leaves him in 4th on the overall ranking. Tell me here, any names pop out? Who have you battled with the most? Of course, Archer, I think 3rd last week as well, was right in there to win. I think him and Panakovs were 1 and 2 to start the final table. And we did have got disconnected last week, a little bit of a technical difficulty. Apologize for that. Listen, hundreds of shows. There will be that once in a while. So apologize anyone watching last week that didn't get to see the end of that, but that is how it played out. And you can see 11 titles for Martirosian and the other names. Who here do you know the best? Who have you played with the most on this list?
Yeah, that's an interesting list because most of them mostly play online. I would say I've played the least with maybe Adamo and Malinowski. Everyone else I've played with a lot. Recently, I would say maybe I played the most with Juan. Maybe Juan.
Juan Pardo Dominguez. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, so many titles between the players. Number 5 for Panakovs. Put him in a new category, only more. Adamo, you can see 6, Ole Shemian, and then tied now with David Yan and, of course, Artur with 11, which isn't a ridiculous stat line. But today, we are going to go ahead and look at our final table list and what is going on. We have 9 players, and there is a look at how that now on the new season, this is the rankings for season 1. So just to give everyone a heads up, little changes here. 2025, 2 seasons. There will be broken up into, this is season 1, so the first half of the year roughly. And you can see now through 3 weeks, we've had the 6th, the 13th, or I'm sorry, the 7th, 14th, and now will be today, the 21st. So the 3rd title available, and you can see on the titles, there they are, 1 and 1 so far. Only 2 titles have been grabbed. Bruno Volkmann, the very dangerous Brazilian, got 1, and there Panakovs getting it. Who will get it today? Who's going to add their name into that record book? And a few players with the chance to do it for the first time today. We're going to look at those 9 players today. As you see, that is the current standings for the season, and the prize pool, $390 pretty healthy, where top three almost getting $250,000 or better, 239 for third, 305. We'll have an 85K heads up match roughly, which is exciting. No deal making available, of course, on the GG Millions play for keeps. So we'll go ahead. Let's take a look at our final table list. We'll take a look at the 9th place, Leo Toffee, someone who I'm not as familiar with, and probably because only the second appearance on the GG Million, and he has not final tabled, so we have not seen him here. Maybe you're familiar. Is this someone you play with at all, or you
actually no. Do we have his online name, or is he playing under real life name?
This looks like the real name, but again, I have not seen this player before. I have not familiar.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just thinking. Okay, I've also not seen this. Maybe I've played with him, but I don't recognize the name immediately. No.
It is an online name, so it seems like a real name, but it's an online name. Could be why we don't know, but again, no GG Million appearances, and maybe one of the ones we'll have the least experience with. 17 big blinds, plenty to play with though, right? That's enough to get it going, and probably pretty well priced. We'll see that.
And also there was the recent name change for GG, right? So maybe he just changed his nickname recently with the New Year's. Could be that's why we don't recognize it.
Yes, very, very true. Very, very likely scenario. We're going to see how that plays out for a bit of an unknown, at least in our eyes. Maybe the final tablists do know about him. But let's go to our next person. The next player here is Alex Borikov, who has at his second final table. He took seventh in the previous. Tell me about Alex. Played with him a few times?
Also, I think he's one of the people who I've played the least and maybe don't really recognize. So I'm afraid I don't have much input for this player either.
For sure. Well, again, a guy that I don't know as much about. You can see his second FT, so have not seen him myself. He's repping a Argentina flag. Could be where he is at the moment. I think that's not an Argentine name, but we're not sure on that, and we're going to see a little less info for this player as well. 26 big blinds, plenty to play with. We'll talk about him as we get moving, and you can see a pretty impressive. He's in there. He's got a second final table, and he's got 32 appearances, so he does have some experience. Let's go to our next player here, who I do believe you know more about, Vladimir Minko, who has 7 final tables, has won before, 88 appearances here, 27% of the time cashing, and a very crazy GG stat there, 12 million in earnings. That's impressive. 2 million of those on GG Millions. What about Minko? What does he do well?
Yeah, him I do know. We play a lot together. He grinds a lot, and I grind a lot, and we play these like small field games, so we have a lot of experience playing against each other. I met him in real life this year, actually, in Bahamas. And yeah, he's also a great guy and also a very good player. So I'm very excited to see him perform in this final table.
Yep, we'll see the Mexico flag there, but not also from Mexico. But again, that's some of those. Look, I'm from the U.S. and that's how it is, right? Sometimes you have to go get set up, get an address, get in a place, and a lot of time the residences and where players reside in the country they're representing on the flag can be a bit confusing. But we'll take a look at that, and we're going to go again to our next player, someone who is a second appearance here, so only looking to get over $1 million in total GG earnings. He does have himself 34 big blinds and a kind of a fun one today. Some of the shorter stacks with less notoriety and a little bit of an opportunity maybe to capitalize on their being incognito to the field. So again, is this, I assume, the same? Do you know much about this player?
Yeah, I don't really recognize the name. Maybe it's a newly switched IRL name, and I knew his online name, but yeah, this name doesn't really ring a bell, I'm afraid.
Yeah, same situation. That is a highest finish here is 109. So again, not many results so far, and on GG about $1 million in earnings. So it does play some tournaments, just hasn't been here as often. Let's go to the next player. Now this guy we could talk a lot about, Michael Watson. He's just got it done, right? Over the course of time, he is a high stakes live wins, plays the Tritons, plays a ton of different things, has got a lot of results, and he has had himself a good series here within the GG Million. How much have you played with Michael Watson?
Yeah, maybe not as much as the other online people, like maybe not as much as Minko, because he doesn't play online that much, but I've played with him a bunch also in live poker. Very accomplished player for a very long time, super solid. Yeah, not much else to say about him. He's just really
he's
good
got
player.
30 million in live earnings. So you couple that with GG, then there's other sites. We're talking about a historic resume. This is the guy, 50 big blinds on the dot. Someone I would be looking at to be able to get it done today. He is still with plenty of chips and a lot of experience, and some of the shorter stacks less experience. So Michael Watson there. He is rocking, I know he's Canadian, rocking the Bahamian flag. Looks like maybe he was even still down there. He was down there for that. I saw him at the PSPC, and he is also looking on the all-time money list, number 30. Pretty clean resume. 30 million, 30th on the all-time list. See if he can get it done on the live streets for going for his third win on GGMillion today. Let's go ahead over to our next player. I believe Andrew Wilson, someone who you were mentioning, you're talking about. I think you do have the highest finish here. He has gotten second 3 final tables, and he is maybe due today. Tell me about Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew is another guy that plays online a lot, and he's very well studied, very theoretical approach. Also another great guy. I've met him a few times, and we are fairly friendly. So yeah, I think maybe he's due. Maybe he's due for a win today.
Yeah, this is a guy that can get it done, and definitely is. He's rocking the Donald Trump. Looks like the McDonald's photo, and Trump just got inaugurated yesterday. He's going for it. He's got a nice photo there, and he's looking to get his first title on the GGMillions. I got a feeling today we might have a first-time winner. There is only, I think, 4 of the 9 that have won a title. We have a 3-time winner, 2-time, 2-time, 1-time. We'll look at that. Minko has taken down a title, and we're going to preview Mr. Watson. We did 2 titles as well on GGMillion, so those guys have won, and then not everyone here had that experience to be able to hoist that trophy and close it out. So that does come into play. It's hard to win tournaments, so he's going to get that done today. We'll go to our next guy, who is maybe the most one of the most accomplished players all around. Leon Sturm, experience-wise, at least 8 million on GG, 7 final tables, winning 2 of those. That's a pretty nice percentage, showing that he does come in usually as chips, and he is able to get it done. You can see 8 million of those. 2 million of the 8 million being on GGMillion. And how about Leon? How tough is he?
Definitely very tough. And you can see he was a super good, very solid player. He even took a break recently, but came back and immediately started crushing, making final tables and winning tournaments left and right. So yeah, no surprise that he's here, and I'm excited to see how he does.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that just seems to always understand where he's at. He just makes great decisions. In my experience, when I watch him, he just seems to get it right. Tough spots, close calls where you literally don't know. I'm looking at the whole cards face up, and I'm not sure what to do, and he gets it done in a way where he just, makes a sort of magical plays. And here we're going to see him play one from Sunday. This is a early stage. You can see the blinds 3K, 6K. So pretty early on, we get to see a hand from this tournament. A6 of hearts folds to him, pretty standard open. And let's see how this plays out. What about min raising at this stage of the tournament versus going a little bigger? Does it make much difference? What are you thinking about when you min raise versus 2.5 or 2.2 or even 3x? What are your thoughts on why to do what here?
So the idea is that the tighter you open, the bigger you want to raise, and also it depends a bit on the stack sizes. Here he's the covering stack, and there are a few stacks fairly shallow, so I think min raise just makes a lot of sense. You don't have a reason to open tighter than normal, so no reason to size up.
Okay, well, he is going to do the min raise. He does flop top pair, a couple back doors as well, nut flush draw, back door, and straight draws, decent flop. He is got called, I think, by the small blind though, so maybe a little tighter range here. What are your thoughts when imagine gets checked to, but let's see. He does get checked to. What do you like here?
I think this is a hand that plays pretty well as a check back. You generally don't want to be range betting these kind of boards, and checking back some of your A6 is going to be fine. Of course, betting is not going to be a mistake, but you probably want to keep some A6 in your check back range.
Yeah, that is well said, and that is also not exactly what he does. He does go for the bet and then gets the turn trip. So sort of a nice card, but if you were ahead, you're still ahead, and I guess there are some hands you're losing to, although you don't have any spades in there, likely some suited broadways, also other pairs could be calling one here, and this is probably a good card, I imagine, to keep betting, because if somehow a hand flatted you that doesn't believe you, it's a little less credible. You have an ace, so I would imagine he does bet and bet big, but let's see what he comes with.
Yeah, I think after you bet the flop, betting this turn card is going to be fairly natural. You generally want to have a fairly high bet frequency, given that it improves you way more than your opponent. And yeah, I think sizing also makes sense.
Good healthy bet. He does go up here, and now let's see what our opponent does. This is actually a bit of a very early stage. This is actually very rare. We see a hand from the super early stages and gets raised. And this is a bit concerning, right? Because like you actually start thinking, what bluffs does he have in this stage, and what is he going with here? And now what? I mean, I can't see a world where you fold, but you are worried. You do lose to a variety of hands.
On one hand, yeah. On the other hand, I would be thinking more along the lines of what value does he have, because he's going to be raising flop with 2 pair sets and so on at pretty much full frequency. And then also a hand like ace-jack or ace-queen, if it calls pre-flop, is also going to be raising the flop against the small bet. So I think value range is extremely limited for the small blind and can be super easy to just have way too many draws in that line and not enough value. So even though ace-6 doesn't feel like a super strong hand, I think you are winning an extremely high percentage of the time there.
Right. Yeah, definitely not folding. And as you mentioned, that's a great point. What are you losing to as played? And now, I mean, this is sort of the dream of dream cards, because if he does have a flush draw, which would also be a little bit interesting to play like this, but if he does have that, you just now improve. You basically have the nuts, right? Losing to ace-9, and that's not a very likely situation. So here you're going to be wanting to raise, and you can't really draw it up more. What do you put this player on? You think he has a flush draw? You had like somehow some weird.
I would think yes. I would think yes. Like maybe ace-10, but raising and stacking off ace-10 on the turn against the big turn c-bet, I'm not sure if that is optimal. So I would think probably some sort of flash that ends up bet calling the river. Maybe 7-8 suited?
Yeah, that also did that makes some sense, right? That there's that hand particularly that flatted, then decided that was enough to go ahead and raise. And this is pretty gnarly run out. Let's see if he does get paid off. Does it? 7-8 suited. There you go. Yeah, that makes sense, and that is pretty crazy. Pretty run. And with that specific hand, 7-8 suited, are you okay? Do you like that now a little more than what you thought, or is that one of the few that makes sense?
Yeah, I think yes, but it's also important to just be mindful on the turn that you don't really have that many value hands. So you also need to be in control of your bluffing frequencies with your draws, because you're going to have a lot of flush draws and straight draws on the turn.
And okay, give me your version of it, your side, 7-8 suited. Where could this hand have gone different for you?
No, so I think flop you can raise sometimes, or calling is also fine. It's one of those hands that you want to be mixing. And then turn, again, I think call or raise, both fine options. You can't really fold anywhere. And on the river, you just have to go broke. I would not have blocked on the river, I don't think. I think I would have rather gone for the jam with this middling flush draw, because you don't want to let your opponent just flat with, let's say, ace-queen, ace-king, these kind of hands, which will not reopen the action after you bet.
Interesting, but no version. Let's say you would not check river, let him check back a hand such that strong, and then because I mean,
no, I don't think with this kind of hand. No, I don't think you want to be checking with this kind of low flush draw kind of hand.
Interesting, yeah, interesting. And again, another perspective, another way to play it. Maybe the same result, but a different way of thinking about it and understanding even there how there is a big nuance in shoving river or block betting. And although it would have turned out the same, there are a lot of times it won't. So very interesting hand. Let's go to our second place player, Chris Nguyen, someone who is a super main event number 5. Pretty impressive showing there, in good form. Has 3 final tables here, 26 appearances. Maybe seeing him more often after that large score. 68 big blinds and chips. So much about confidence in poker and being in good form here. He is looking for his first GGMillion title. And Chris Nguyen, how much play have you had with him?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually fairly familiar with Chris. We shared a house in Vegas recently. Oh, wow. And I think he comes from a cash background, and he recently started playing more tournaments, and you can already see how he's extremely successful with the main event score and now this final table. So yeah, great to have him on the table. I'm sure he will provide some entertaining play.
Amazing. Well, that is fun. It should be exciting. Let's get to see a hand from Chris here, who is our second place, and also a pretty early on, unusual. We don't usually see from this stage of the tournament. You can see 3,500, 7,000 blind. Oli Shemian in there, Novak, just some powerhouse names. This is not a soft tournament, Alex. How much have you played this tournament? This is definitely a tough field historically. Always to say. Where do you rank this in the sort of hierarchy of tournaments?
It's interesting. So I think compared to other high stakes, it's not going to be as tough due to the very high number of satellite winners that you have. For example, during the series, like the Spring Festival, you have some weekly 10Ks with maybe 50 runners. I think these tournaments are going to be tougher than this one, simply because of the lower number of satellite winners. But of course, it's still a tough 10K tournament, right? It's not a walk in the park by any means.
For sure. We can see Novak here with who opened and 5-6 suited. If you're going to flat this hand, this is a pretty nice looking board. You feel like you just have a set or the nuts in a way. It's just so many possibilities. Of course, drawing to the low end of a straight, also not the highest flush draw, but still pretty good flop here and has options.
I think you pretty much only want to be calling here. I don't think you want to play almost any raises against this big three-way c-bet. And there we go.
Yep, gonna go ahead and kick it on up. Novak now with a kind of, what hands you feel great about here. You kind of realize that there is a pretty draw-heavy board. You get flatted, and you do lose to some sevens, set of sevens, eights, maybe ace-7, ace-8 suited. How those would play pre-flop. I don't know if they're going to three-bet or flat, but you are, you're out of position now, and whatever. We don't know the holding, but it is a pretty wet board.
For sure, but I think when you have ace-queen, ace-king, you just always get it in here, and you hope to be up against some sort of draw. Yeah, like ace-queen, I think you just have to get it in at this stack depth. Not much else to do. And with 6-5 suited, it's not that raising, getting it in on the flop is a mistake. You have so much equity, it's hard for it to be a mistake or losing money. It's just that it's easier for your range to only play calls and keep everything together.
And so but yeah, pretty standard in your mind. This is a good, you just raise for Chris, and then with ace queen, ace king, that's sort of the cutoff where you would be willing to go with that. So standard stuff. And yeah, 5-6 suited does realize that equity. Queen of diamonds was not available, but the 3 of diamonds was. That came on the river. That was delivering a big pot for Chris, who is our second place stack for today. And you can see that is how he kind of got kick-started into a good situation early there. As you said, pretty much, you may be a cash game player, but pretty standard. Flatting 5-6 suited pre, and then playing a big pot when he flops a big draw. All right, let's go to our chip leader. An interesting personality, our Romanashka, we've seen many times on here. He's also had 3 wins before, which is impressive on 19 final tables. Has played this tournament frequently. He is Russian and also, I believe, a media personality from back in the day and from a long time. Been involved with host at AVTO Radio, and he does producing and some other things. Friend of GGPoker, and here we go. Get to see him with the big stack and all-time money list top 200 influencer. You can see that's pretty strong. Just straight up, just give him the full tag influencer, as he has 3 million in earnings from GG. So this is a tournament he likes. Over what? This is 60% of his earnings are on GG through this specific tournament. Let's go ahead and see a hand from our Romanashka in this tournament at the 6K, 12K. And look at his stack at this stage. Guys with 80,000, 200,000. He's got 1.3 million, and he likes to play big pots. I think that is a thing we can deduct by the property of logic, that this is what's going on. There's Victor Malinowski. Haven't seen him for a little bit, but another great player, friend of GG. And Adrian Mateos, tough table here. Nice spot with 4s. Get to close the action. Ace, queen, 4, 2 hearts. Nice flop there. Yes, it is. What are we doing?
When you're calling with 4s, this is the flop you're begging for. Basically, that's the dream scenario.
Yep, ace, queen, 4. You know how hard it is to flop a set. He has done that, and he is gone and checked it over. It's also nice if you're known as kind of like a wild guy, right? If you're known as a bit of a big play for big pots and stuff, when you do make hands, it's dangerous because you can use that image, use that sort of, people are just not as willing to make folds and more curious. So that's interesting. It does start with just a call.
For sure, which is why I dislike the call of the flop a bit. I think this is one of the spots where you can play your more aggressive image and just raise a lot, I think.
Well, he does go ahead and get the check raise in pretty quickly, too. I think this is in real time. You saw there was a bet and a quick check raise, which is interesting, too. Just snap, goes and raises it up. And Victor here with any type of value hand is going to have a hard time. I mean, there's so many draws here, and he knows, again, probably Romanashka, one of the capable players, not just going to have sets or 2 pairs. He is willing and able to put it in. And just call, though, from Victor, and now everything bricks. And, again, dream spot here for Romanashka. Doesn't have to even worry about really anything. He's got effectively a nuts, loses to aces and queens, somehow 9s, which doesn't make sense. So yeah, he's got the nuts in his mind, and What are you calling off here? How late Malinowski? I mean, with this run out, what do you
Well,
have
if you have an ace, you probably have to call off here. The truth is. So yeah, I just don't see much way to escape this situation. Yeah, I don't think your kicker matters much. Maybe like avoid having some sort of 10 or jack in your hand when you call, but still, like I don't think folding an ace here is reasonable.
If you were to find, yeah, so ace jack, I mean, what, to your point, what would be a better, I think these are always interesting for the audience to go to the next level. And again, you said ace x here, maybe in this scenario, you probably have to call it. But like when you are looking at these type of calls in general, what would be what would you rather have than ace jack here? What would be more, would you feel a little safer with?
Yeah, so I think you want to avoid blocking the most natural bluffs from your opponent. I would think something like jack 10 is going to be one of the most normal hands to bluff with, because you have the catch on the flop, then the open ender on the turn, and then on the river you just jam, especially if you don't have a heart in your hand. So I would think not having a jack or a 10 is ideal, but if you think your opponent is over bluffing, then it doesn't really matter. You just have to call every ace x.
So like if he had, for example, ace jack with the jack of hearts here, I mean, it would even be just one of the worst, right? With the jack of hearts in particular, that'd just be a bad.
Yeah, probably. But I think having, let's say, ace 5 or something would probably be better, because then you even block some 5-3 suited kind of hand, which could play this way. But yeah, getting this amazing price against an aggressive opponent, I don't think you can be that picky.
Right. Okay. And Romanashka, how much experience with him have you played online and or live?
I've played online a bit with him. He's definitely a wild player who's not afraid to play big pots, as you correctly identified yourself.
Yeah, very, very fun. It's going to be interesting. He's chip leader. We don't know as much about some of the shorter stacks today. I think it's wide open and a exciting thing where I mentioned Romanashka 3 titles, Leon Sturm 2. We have 2 from Michael Watson and 1 from Minko. The remaining 5 players, no title. So we have a new champion or a repeat. And let's go ahead and look at the betting odds for today. If you're in the client, if you're in a region, GG, you have an account, this is what you can bet. You can take part in this and wager on it. Some interesting odds all the way down to 18 to 1 roughly on your money. And again, the favorite at 5.44. Go ahead. I'll let you pick first. You're the guest. We get 3 picks each, 100 units. We're going to break it up into those 3 parts. So I'll let you choose first, and out of 100 units to wager over 3 players, who do you want to bet on?
Okay. Chris asked me to pick him, so I have to go for Chris. And
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. How much out of your 100 units?
Let's like a third of them, I guess.
All right, we'll call it we'll give you 30. We'll go 35 on Chris. For you, I gotta take Romanashka, man. I'm looking for him to get his 4th, which is in a whole new world of elite. That's a very strong to go to the next level and get 4 titles. He is a chip leader. A little bit of a boring pick, but I'm gonna put 40 on him. Try to double my money out of the 100 units. I'll go 40 on Romanashka. Who's your second pick?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Minko. He's the shortest stack, but I believe in him. I believe in his abilities to win flips. So let's go 35 on Minko as well.
35, Minko. I'll leave you with 30. I will take Michael Watson, his podcast guest, friend of mine, his wife and my friends, good friends, and I am going to go ahead and root for my man there. He is a legend of the game, been around forever, has great results, and a great guy. So I'll take him for 30. I think that was I did 40. What did I say? 40? 30. Okay, so your third pick, I have 30 left, and I believe you have 30 left.
Yeah,
right?
I also have 30 left, and I'm going to put my last 30 on Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson. Okay, you mentioned him before. You say, his ability to finish and close, and very good player. So that's a nice
and very theoretical player, very aggressive. This will be a very exciting final table, I think. We will see a lot of action.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to take my last 30 on Leon Sturm. So go with those 3, and that seems like a pretty fair fight for our dinner wager. You're good with that? Put a nice dinner on, a nice meal on, see who one of our picks win. You're open for that?
Yes, of course. Let's do it.
All right, we got a nice dinner on the line. The audience will have nice giveaways today. Of course, we'll have 2 tickets, 100 GG and a 50. You must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up, and I'll tell you what, you must take a quick restroom break because we are going to be back in 5 minutes, and there is no deal making. We're going to see some great play, and as Alex did mention, likely some very, very high pressure situations. I think these players they don't have much chill, right? These guys want to win. They know it's for the title, for the glory, on the bright lights, on the GG Millions. This is again the third week, the third show on the season 2025. There's gonna be 2 seasons, so it's the season 1 of 2 for this year. 3rd episode. Who's gonna get done? We'll see you back after the break, and my man Alex and I will call the action until the end. We'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
See you, David.
All right, it is time. It is Tuesday, January 21st. This is episode 3 of season 1 for 2025. We have 2 champions so far this year, and we've got Alex Theologis in the building to call an epic final table. He knows some of the players. He knows there's going to be action. Welcoming everyone. We can't wait to call this to the end with you, and we're going to take a quick look. Again, we just did the pregame show. If you're just joining us right now, we're going to take a quick look at the seat selection for the final table. You can see the payouts, 390, healthy tournament size for the 10K early on. And this is a fun selection process. It's not much different what I ask every week the guests. What is the process? What do you do as a short stack, the middle stack? You go from the shortest to the biggest. Give me anything insightful other than the obvious, I think, of trying to be on the left if you're the big stack, the chip leader from the second. What else? What other insights could you give me here? Some tricks or thoughts you might be able to share?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as a short stack, you decide first or as one of the first, so you don't have much agency over what's going to happen. So I suppose your main goal is to just be as late of a position as possible without really going for the button because someone else is going to go for it. So we see that Leo Tafe went for the hijack, for example, and Minko went for the cutoff, which I think are both reasonable options. Another thing would be to maybe try and play in position of a weaker player or be far away from one of the bigger stacks, but again, when you decide first, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not much you can do as early on. I guess you can kind of try to predict maybe how things will go and where you want to be. You can see the button is set, so maybe something to think about if you're the shortest stack to try to move around, but you can't really do much in that sense of controlling. And you can see Chris Wen, who is our second stack, maybe he can predict a bit where he's going to go, and then Romanashka now seems like a pretty logical spot. But you could go to the other side, right? Maybe you try to mix it up, and honestly there's a lot of stacks that are pretty healthy, right? So it's not really no one's like, it's not like a blowout chip lead versus some of the other guys. He does go to the left of Chris Nguyen, and reasonable. You can see that makes sense. As we see a little bit unusual, no Brazilian today. That's almost every time. We do see the Austria flags out. And again, the country of where you live and reside and where you play is not always the same, but there we go. We are underway. Button on Leon Sturm, and we are going to go ahead and kick it off here with the final table. A lot to play for. The chip leader is in the big blind, and Jack 9 suited going to come out raising.
Yeah, this is a bit too wide. As this kind of middling stack, opening into the chip leaders, you definitely want to be a bit tighter and more careful with your opening range. And Jack 9 suited, I think, should just go into the muck. But he goes ahead and opens. Queen 8-8 should be a fairly high checkback frequency, especially with a hand like this, which has like the backdoor flush draw, backdoor, like the gutshot and so on. You don't really want to get raised with this hand. So far, exactly the opposite of what I would have done.
Right. But as you said, action today. We may get a bit of action. We're getting a little bit of unconventional stuff. And we do have actually an interesting decision where the 3 now shows down 418K in the middle. A little unlucky. Jack 9 suited didn't turn a spade, didn't turn a Jack 9 or 10. And as turns out, not really the position you want to be in. Having to bluff maybe into a chip leader on the river or not as played. Do you want to take a shot? You realize you're not going to win almost any hand. I guess, 9-10 suited or something, 9-10
off. Probably going to bluff you on the river, right? He's not going to check.
Exactly. Not a good.
So I like that check back on the turn by Jack 9 suited. I think this is very good because you block a lot of the folds from your opponent, like Jack 10, 10-9. You block these gut shots. So I think check back turn is fine. And now you just go for like a half potish kind of bet on the river to try and target some ace highs, king highs, stuff like that.
Yeah. Does go big. And look at the snap call. I'll tell you what, man. That is, he beat him in the pot. He helmeted them in there. Wow. What nice call. And listen, I gotta say, this actually brings me to one of my, I don't want to say fears, but thoughts in poker, which I think that is many out there have. It's like if you, in this spot, Romanashka, let's say he's more sticky, chip leader, fun. You see how he just ripped that off. If you think he's going to be extra sticky, if you think he's not, like, is it harder to bluff in spots like that? He did size up, but is there a time where you just have to wave the white flag if your player dependent don't feel he's going to fold a hand such as
for sure. And this also, I think, shows why going for such a big sizing doesn't make too much sense, because you're not trying to fold out a pair. You're trying to fold out some ace highs, maybe some king highs. And going around half pot is going to accomplish that probably. going for such a big sizing when your opponent is on the stickier side just really doesn't accomplish much, as we saw here. You just lost more than you should have.
Interesting. All interesting. What a way to kick off the show. Very interesting pot. The hero call, a bluff, and we are here in a spot where 4-5 suited also getting in the mix there in the small blind. Not a conventional spot, but he would have did have live cards, and as it turns out, King Queen King 10 both collide with top pair. Minko in a good position.
King Queen suited, I think, should probably start raising here. It's very high up your range, needs protection. You don't really lose by much. I don't think button would be flatting pocket threes. So, okay, you lose to pocket nines, but that's it. So I would have check raise flop with King Queen suited, I think. It's also a spot where you would maybe rather call Ace King and raise King Queen, because King Queen needs more protection from like Ace 5 suited or Ace 8 suited or some hand like that.
Yep, very good point as well. What's up, everyone? Good to see you. Where are you watching from in the world? We have got ourselves a international crowd, and we got Alex joining us for a long time coming. We were trying to get this set up and had some dates blocked off, and hopefully we'll have you on again in the future, and appreciate the time today. This will be a fun one.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. And where can people follow along with you? Where can people take part? I know you do a variety of courses and information. What is the best way people can get involved with what you have going on?
I will tell you in a second. Let's see the hand first, because it's a big pot. We have a big pot brewing here. King 10 bet the turn again. King Queen called, and I think now King 10 just has to check back. Yeah. King Queen could also again make the case for maybe jamming turn, but I think calling turn and showing down is more reasonable. Okay, to answer your question. So I do seminars in a few different platforms. For example, CNC and BBZ, and then I also make video content for Run It Once and do some personal one-on-one coaching. So definitely a lot of areas for people to catch up with me if they like the way I talk about things and present things.
And you've been doing that for how long? You've been in there for
like 4 or 5 years, maybe. I've been quite invested in coaching. I enjoy it, and I think it brings good value to others and to me.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a nice situation where you get to have a win-win. And this is a very, very intricate flop. We got open-ended where a queen would actually make them the nut straight, and ace 5 suited Romanashka with the nut flush and also top 2 pair. This is a 3-way kind of pile up incoming. It looks like this is absolutely big hands. And I know Romanashka at this particular flop, he's not going to be going anywhere for pretty much any sizing, as he is going to be curious if he checks back or just comes right in betting. Interesting to.
Yeah, I would think he always bets with his profile.
Right. You would check. You think checking back is kind of nice though too, right? Because this board does smash hands, sets, 2 pairs, straights, and like this type of situation where
the Jack 9 jam I don't really like. I think you should primarily play calls here. But
in the head, and now is in a pretty good situation. He's a fade, the spade on the river, and it is
looks like a spade. Yeah,
that is dirty. Romanashka just takes it and takes out an opponent. Big pot, big pop, big boy poker. Over 5 million now. He has combined between second and third. He has that in his stack. So pretty nice spot. Those odds, if you bet before the start of the final table, things have changed. Romanashka is in a commanding position, and we have a knockout within 15 minutes in the show. We are down to 8. And wow, big pot. No fear over there. Just goes for it and gets it. Bang. That is right. Bang.
Yeah. The final table hasn't disappointed so far, has it? No. Every pot has been huge.
No, this is you might be able, what time is it over there in Europe? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You might be able to make dinner still at this rate. If Romanashka is going to be running hot, this could be a short day for everyone involved. So hope you are enjoying. We are happy to have you. Where have I been? I'm here, Yeezy. I'm putting out podcasts. I'm doing a weekly show on the GGMillion. Disappointing last week where we did have an interruption with some technical difficulties and didn't get to finish that out. That was a legendary final table. Panakov's Mortarizian final 3. Panakov's took it down, as we saw in the pregame show, but we are back and we are in the 3rd episode of season 1 of 2025. There will be 2 seasons this year and big giveaways for the audience. Really excited to tell you guys about this because it is significant. You're going to want to stay tuned. You're going to want to be a part of it, and appreciate all of you already hitting those thumbs up today. Almost 600 on to the start of the show. And we have got a lot to give away today as well. So stay tuned. And I will get the tweet out. I forgot about that. Sorry that I had to was getting some last minute stuff there. I will get that out. That will go on Jeff Bros Poker on my Twitter. I will put $50 cash out of my pocket. So it doesn't matter if you have a GG account or PayPal, this and that. I will send you however you like, and I'll get that up in a few moments. Ace 9, King Queen makes the second nut flush.
Yeah, Ace 9 opened, c-bet flop small, and then check turn, and now we need to see what King Queen is going to do on the river. I would imagine blocking, yeah, makes sense. You have top pair and straight blocker and the flush, and you have everything, so you don't really want to bet too big with a hand like this, because your opponent doesn't have anything left to call you with.
Yeah, again, another
Ace 9
interesting size, right? This is like why when these points are so big, it's like, all right, what can my opponent have? What am I accomplishing? And you also once in a while maybe induce, right, with this type of thing. The sizing could possibly work out for that. So it's like kind of a double opportunity to get chips. And Minko is got some decision making. Does go ahead and get the
I think it's a good fold. I think it's a good fold. Almost everything gets there on the river. There's just not much left.
Yeah, bet sizing is so important. I think that's the thing in poker. There's so many times, like I say this all the time on here, but it's not your last hand. It's not that you lose ace queen to ace jack all in for 12 blinds. It's like what are all the times? What are all the spots? What are all the sizings along the way for value, for saving chips, even in another spot you mentioned where the king to save chips, right? Like on the spot of the sizing that you don't need to bet as much in a spot or to bluff, right? Like that's a huge difference. You put another couple 100,000 chips out there in a spot where he could have done it for less. So I think that's really important to focus on the sizing in what you're doing. It all matters. The chips matter. Every pot matters.
Here, this hand, we had an interesting fold where Romaska open folded Jack 10 offsuit, and I think he should have opened this hand as a big stack from hijack. But it's interesting to see that he chose to fold it.
Well, Leo Tafe, we can say is a username, not a real name, but Leo is now in an uncomfortable spot where you took a shot, there's 4 diamonds, your opponent calls, you're one of the short stacks. Do you want to come in with the second barrel kind of team?
I think, yes. Value? I think this hand selection makes a lot of sense to bluff with. You don't want to interact with like the gut shots and the straight shots and stuff like that. So using this kind of ace-x, I think is correct. The sizing, I don't think is what you should be using. I think you just want to go larger and bet a bit more polar. Like you don't want to be betting your middling diamonds here, I don't think. You just want to be betting good diamonds and bluffs, so probably go a bit bigger than this.
Well, the board pairs, he still has ace high. He got called now. And is that where the story ends? Or does Leo decide that this is
These kind of spots are a bit tricky because you need to bluff some random non-equity hands. You don't really bluff the turn with pairs on the board. You just check them back because you win often enough. So I think using some of these low ace-x is probably optimal. You can go full frequency, everything, every time. But I think hands like these make for decent river bluffs.
Yeah, you're also the risk premium. You look around, there's no one really in sight shorter than you. So it's an important pot. If somehow you can win, you get back to sort of tied for the shortest and have a different thing. But at the same time, you still have 480. One player's knocked out. The table's playing fast. He is going to go and unload the clip. And this is a credit to him for taking this, and whether he gets called or not, this would be quite a hero call. And as it works out, really nice to pull the trigger. That is not easy. And we are seeing highlight hands after highlight hands.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nice shove. Puts him back in the game. Wow. I didn't know what we're going to see there.
By the way, we got some info from the chat that Leo Tafe is a new name, and his previous name was Natty Wolf or something like that, which I do recognize from playing online. So he's not completely unknown or anything like that. Okay, 5-6 suited opens. Yeah, a bit wide probably, given the stack distribution, but I think it's okay.
All right, let me get this tweet loaded up here. We're gonna get to $50 there. We got a $100 GG ticket, $50 GG ticket, and a $50 cash going out. And did you tell me your start of your poker, Chris? Someone, I guess I don't know you as well, and did you start with like a free roll of $50? What year did you get in? Give me a little bit of your entry level to poker, and how did you come into be now in this situation of a coach, world-class player? Where did you start?
So it started when I was maybe 19 years old. So like 12 years ago or something. Some friends invited me to a home game. I didn't even know what poker was at that point. So I looked up the rules and I actually found the game very interesting. I've always been into strategy card games growing up. So poker felt very similar to that. And then just won a random online tournament for maybe like $1,000 or something like that. And this was the beginning of it all. I saw that I can make a lot of money from a game I enjoy and make it my job. And yeah, I started playing more and more seriously and studying more. And I never looked back.
I love it. So you started, you didn't risk very much early. You built it from the bottom. You came in and sort of
I had no money to risk. I was a broke university student working part-time as a DJ. No money left.
Oh, wow. DJ. Nice. That's fun. I always thought, I have some friends that got more into DJ later in life and doing it more for fun, but also becoming a little bit more serious. I do think that would be kind of a fun, another fun sort of interesting, creative life to travel.
Yeah, for sure.
DJ. Yeah. That's awesome. Do you still do it? Do you still do it for fun some? Do you still know? Is it like one of those things you can pick up quickly? Or?
I don't really have time anymore.
Is there GTO DJing? Is it evolving a lot? Like how the mixes and the thing? I mean, would it be something you could pick up quickly again? Or would you think it would take some time? Like it's almost a new world?
I think that with new technology, new software, it actually becomes a bit easier to do some of the things that it required a lot of practice back then.
Got it.
But again, I'm just guessing because I'm not really into the space anymore.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think that's what I love life in niche nuance professions, right? It's so interesting to see like, would people be successful in other things? And why is it poker versus like chess or this, or, you know, or DJing? What draws to poker or draws you to do something else? It's just very interesting. Like I think about highly successful people in fields and areas and like, would they be also, you know, why is it that and not that? And probably a lot of time they'd be good at other things as well. So I just love when poker, it's funny because poker a lot of times, and I play again less often, but at dinners or when I meet people are fascinated by poker, right? They're like, wait, you really do that for a living? Or you really, you know what I mean? Like it's such a, like not normal
oh yeah, for sure. Not
you're almost like you're talking to guys and managers, fund managers and stuff, but they're like fascinated by that, like not, you know what I mean? So I think that's one of the cool things about poker is it is unique and interesting.
For me, one of the things that drew me into poker compared to DJing is that it's a pure meritocracy kind of thing. Whereas in DJing, you need to have like connections and just other aspects, I guess, in terms of just being good. Whereas in poker, if you're good, you just win, and that's all there is to it. You don't need to have any other skill set.
I what's the word? I don't want to say I think you're right in a lot of respects because you can still like open and enter any tournaments and fields basically, right? It's not secluded, but I would disagree in the sense that there is a lot of sort of various skill sets or things you can do within like cash games, private games, home games, and just in general situations. But you're right. You know, you could go online right now and play in any open tournament or go enter a World Series of Poker event. And if you're a great tournament player, you know, I think but there is benefit and skills, other areas of poker that come into play. But you're right overall. It doesn't seclude you. Like it doesn't limit you from, at least from like tournament play.
So, yeah, for sure. For sure. I was talking about tournament poker. Not, you're right about the private cash games and so on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But even then now there is some stuff with tournaments and politics or some of the higher stakes and like, you know, there's been people have been shut out at times or aren't able to get in some of these like invitationals and different things. So it is, I think poker teaches you a lot about life in general, though. There are a lot of skill sets you learn with poker about real life, which is, I think, the coolest part. And here we go. Ace Jack getting a little saucy, and Romanashka just not messing around. I mean, just no inducing, doesn't want to see. He's like, you know what? Maybe I just cooler the guy. Maybe also they have Ace King or Queens, or, you know, they just put it in. But also, hey, look, I'll take the pot. Let someone 5-bet jam Ace 5 suited and into his. I don't think many people are gonna take Ace 5 suited and stick it on him though either, right? I don't think that's part of the Romanashka playbook to try to out aggressive him.
No, but on the other hand, hands that are gonna call you when you jam, you're probably stuck off anyway, even when you click it back, right? So it's sort of a win-win free roll situation. You just don't want to go in to allow your opponents to maybe do something. Whereas if you go in, let's say Chris calls Queens Ace King, he's gonna stack his hands off anyway when you go for a clickback.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So I think it just doesn't accomplish too much. But I'm here and he's there. So.
Ace-4 is in the missionary, top and bottom on the flop. Ace-4 king, as king-jack does hit that middle pair. And again, button versus big blind. This is uncomfortable, right? You definitely can have the best hand here a variety of the time. So let's see, does he want to hold on for one more? Would be drawing extremely, extremely thin here and needing a king. A jack would not do it. Ace-4 already with the 2-pair. And let's see.
I think you just have to call once more, especially with the king of spades. Provide some more playability down the road. And it's not impossible that Romashka is value betting a worse hand than king jack.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Too many things point to let's get to a river. But hey, listen, whether it ended up being the right fold, maybe not the GTO fold, but he got it right. That is a big part. That is important. Results oriented. And here we are seeing some hands. Ace, king, tens, early position though. See if this doesn't.
This is interesting for pocket tens. Yeah, this is not a happy spot when you have tens. Like that's the spot you're praying doesn't come up when you see pocket tens under the gun one. And with these stack sizes, I would think tens probably just have to fold here. It's not fun, but I think you probably have to muck pocket tens against under the gun.
Interesting. I wouldn't muck. I would call, but you're probably right. And it's close. It's definitely close. I think that also depends on how often you think behind people are gonna get out of line, where some of the shorter stacks are, but it is under the gun and you are in a spot where it's gonna be hard to play comfortably, as we see even here. You have the best hand, but do you get to showdown?
Yeah, I assume it is checked to him. And pocket tens probably have to start bluffing here, because you don't really flat worse pocket pairs. You flat like ace queen suited, ace jack suited, which are obviously connected on the board. So I think pocket tens probably one of the hands you want to start bluffing because you don't have many worse hands here. It's not common to be bluffing with such high pairs, but I think here it's a bit of a special situation. And yeah, he does go for the bet. Ace king, I think call or raise, both fine options.
Yeah, Minko so far been perfect in this hand. Has the 10 of diamonds working, which is the best as we know, although we don't. Andrew definitely could have an ace king or with a diamond. That's a how big a difference is it for Andrew there with ace king with the diamond on the flop to be continuing or not, or is he just kind of mandatory calling here?
Yeah, the diamond is really good for you in terms of continuing with ace king, because you can turn all of the nutted draws, whereas now your hand is just useless and has to fold. I imagine tens will bet again, start targeting some jack X, maybe some like queen 10 suited kind of hand. Yeah, and ace king just has to fold. Yeah, okay. Looks well played post flop by both, I think.
He likes that. He's giving a little gift there. What's that, a pig in a thong? I don't know what that was, but he put it out there.
Yeah. Minko really likes pigs. He has a special relationship with them.
Okay. Hey, listen, teach his own. Fair enough. Takes it down. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We're having a great start to the show. Romashka started chip leader, has maintained that and some added to his stack. 6 million now. That is a lot of chips for a half hour into the stream, as ace 8 and jack 10 are battling here. 4x from Watson with ace 8 off.
I think you probably would rather limp ace 8 off here when you are so deep and the stacks are so close, but raise also can be
very
bad.
British names here. Andrew Wilson, Michael Watson battling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The lines as Sir Watts, his name on that line known many years, maybe familiar to those at home, has done a lot of damage online. He has won a lot of money and been there from the beginning. Here he goes, ace 8, just kind of betting. Andrew sort of in no man's land on the ace 6 7 board.
But the thing with jack 10 is that it has 2 overcards to the 6 and the 7, and can also turn backdoor straight draws. You would rather have a backdoor flush draw, but I think it's close whether you continue or not. And now you would be betting pretty often. Let's see. I think check is also reasonable, but main action should be to bet.
As it runs out, the ace on the river, so he's going to make a pretty strong hand here. 6 7 with check. effectively the nuts, right? On the check back turn, ace river. That's just very high
Yeah,
up
I would
in the
imagine
range.
ace 8 is, yeah, as you said.
Maybe a smaller bet again. Do you target to get paid, or do you actually try to handcuff maybe a 7x
I
or
think you want to go to on the bigger side. I would have gone a bit larger than that. I think when you unblock hands like King Jack, King Queen, King 10, and so on, it makes sense for you to use this kind of bigger sizing. Also, the 8, you block like 8, 9, which are hands your opponent will bluff, or 10, 8, and so on. So I think going larger makes sense. Let's see, ace 9, yeah, and I guess this gets walked. But Romaska has 5-3 suited, so maybe he doesn't agree with me. Let's see. Deep in the tank. Ah, okay, he finds the fold.
Is Chris, where is he from, actually, Chris Nguyen?
I am not sure. I know he's Asian, but I'm not sure which country he's from. I know he lives in Vienna. I don't know if he was born in Vienna or not. I'm not sure. Okay, Quinton suited seems like a clear open. And King 10 suited, probably decent to 3-bet fold, but not clear what you want to do here. Yeah, and Queen 10, I guess fold. You don't really want to be calling 3-bets. Even though we're getting a great price, you're out of position with a hand that is pretty dominated. So I think you just don't really want to be calling. Yeah, looks nice.
Awesome. And I did just get the tweet out there. That is a $50 cash giveaway. I didn't put that in the wording, but I will let you know, those that are watching have that chance. You can guess who wins. If they don't win, it's okay. I just want to know who you think now. You can go ahead and guess and retweet. So to be clear, you guess Chris Nguyen wins and Minko wins. Doesn't matter if I'll still randomly pick and you can still win. So that is out. $50 cash. That is cash, not a GG ticket. We will have a $100 and $50 GG ticket later in the stream. And maybe you take that. We've heard some epic runs. There's been some epic. We just had Marcelo Aziz on, who took a free roll down to the 25K to Super Million 50 mil guarantee in the Bahamas. He took a free roll ticket and then won 4.6 million per second. So hey, what could you do at 50 or 100 if you got what they can do a 0 for 4.6? That was pretty epic story there. Great storyline there in the Bahamas just now. And he was our guest on 2 weeks ago. So pretty cool. And yeah, loving the PWN Diddy commentary, as many are. Great guests to have. Love to have him on again. Happy to have him here. And tell me, what is that username? I love monikers from back. What does that mean, your username?
You asked, sorry, because what my username stands for.
Yeah.
Or did you ask the chat? I mean, I missed who you were talking to.
Yeah,
sorry.
PWN did the
yeah. Okay. So I used to play a computer game called Dota back in the day, and my name in that game was You Got Pwned, so PWND. And then the IDI at the end is something from the Greek language to simplify that something is small. So let's say it would be Little Pond, in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes from a game. That's the short answer.
Cool. And then you took it and brought it to poker.
Yeah. I created my name many years ago when I didn't know if I would be playing professionally or not, and it just stuck ever since.
Very interesting, and also interesting, the queen jack off flatting the early position short stacked here with.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too wide, but let's see. Yeah, flop looks good. And ace 9, I think, probably should keep on barreling here. Sure, maybe you lose to ace 10 occasionally, but I still think there's a lot of value to be gained by worse ace 6. Yeah. Looks good. And queen jack probably has to hit the mark now. Yeah, okay.
We're in line. He's in there.
We are in line. But 50% of the time.
Yes, there's some hands that check out some streets there. A little wide pre, but hey, he's in there mixing up. King 10 suited now. Andrew Wilson with 6s gets it up. That's probably close. 7s. I mean, I guess 8s for sure. 7s.
Yeah.
in that range, and that's also a nice adjustment. Crystal went now the nines, king 10 suited, going to get snap called by Romanashka, and Leo with the suited ace, late position raises. But
Yeah, but just has to fold. Ace deuce suited, I think, is too weak here.
yeah, it's pretty ambitious to get them to fold for this. I mean, I guess it is still 17 blinds, but yeah, I don't think you're.
I think like maybe ace five suited, and then just the better suited aces. You just want to go fairly linear here against late positions. Okay, and he folds. That's good.
Wow, what a spot. Chris Nguyen is in third, tied basically, but he has a top set versus an aggressive player, Romanashka. How to play small. That king 10 suited.
I would have been. I don't have much experience playing with Romashka, but I would have checked his hand and just let him to potentially blast off.
Yeah.
And we can see also, like, we bet, and he ended up folding, like, backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, 2 overcards. So this would have been a hand that has to continue probably against a bet. So we can see that Romashka ended up folding a hand he should put more money in. So it goes to show a bit more that betting just not the best option, I think.
Yeah.
Can I share my secret shrimp saganaki recipe? I can actually not cook anything at all. I tried boiling eggs once and I almost burned the house down. So you're talking to the wrong person.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not a cooker. Haven't done that, and not eggs is like my cutoff too. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Not my thing. I would like to get into it, but I gotta learn poker first, Portuguese. There's things on the list. At some point, if you're gonna cook, you want to do it well. I'd rather, just tackle that at a later time in life. So yeah, that's I'm with you on that. Not a. Well, why Saganaki? Is that a joke then? Is that an inside joke about that specifically? Or
no, just some Greek recipe.
Okay.
Just some Greek recipe. Okay, sixes, yeah, nines. I suspect just want to call here, and queen jack suited. Probably overcall, but it's interesting. Because you can make a case for jamming queen jack suited against the chip leader.
Wow, that seems like a pretty big risk though with you're the 2 shorter, but I guess yeah, it's also, you said, it's just a good one of those good hands to do it with.
Yeah, and the thing is, the small blind will fold almost every single time when you jam. He will call extremely rarely. So yeah, I think it's a decent spot to jam. Okay, sixes, snap check back the flop. I think you could do some betting, especially with the 6 of diamonds, but it's fine either way. And I suspect small big blind also just check here. Let's see if Romaska will have a go. It's interesting because he has been playing fairly passively so far. Like, he didn't take some opening spots. He didn't take some like continuing spots. He jammed with kings, and now here he doesn't even consider bluffing, which is, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, definitely an interesting style, but then at the same time, he does mix it up in a few other ways, or flats like queen jack off under the gun raise. So he's in there, but yeah, a little bit less super aggressive. Been interesting so far. It worked out. He did get rewarded in a big all in, and he also hero called the 3-2 early on and was correct.
Yeah,
big side. So
yeah, just more on the, I guess, passive defensive side and not so much on the aggressive side himself.
Yeah.
Queen jack suited, I don't think should value bet. I think it would be too thin. Sixes, nope, not bluffing now either with the diamond. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, 6 mil still. He says bring it. Minko looking for action as we are now 8-handed, and Jack 9 suited as a chip leader folding there. Is that a little surprising too for you or no?
Yeah. I guess I missed it because it was folded pretty quickly. Jack 9 suited, yeah, should have open for sure. King 8 suited, I think, is fine. Reasonable open. King 5 off shouldn't call. I think it shouldn't be calling. I think it should 3-bet sometimes maybe, but mainly fold. So the problem here is that even though you cover, the opening range is going to be very tight. So you want to be careful with the offsuit garbage hands that you defend. So I think King 5 off probably supposed to be a fold in theory, but maybe I'm wrong. Have I coached Romashka? No, I have not.
You mind me asking, what do you do So you work with, you do coaching in different sites, and you're involved. I believe what BBZ. You also do CNC.
Yeah, I do coaching seminars with some different sites I mentioned, and then I do videos for Run It Once, and then I also do private one-on-one coaching.
And if someone want to get private one-on-one coaching, where can they get in touch with you? And what, if you don't mind sharing, what's your typical sort of rate or package, or how do you do it? Hour packages?
Yeah, so they can reach out on Discord or on Instagram. And my hourly right now is 500 with a discount if you buy multiple sessions. And I have some topic ideas that I recommend and so on. But yeah, if someone's interested, feel free to reach out and we can talk about it.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, it's fun. Do you enjoy it? You find doing one-on-one coaching, is that enjoyable? Or if you have your preference, is it playing one-on-one coaching or seminars?
I would say I find coaching maybe a bit more interesting than playing. But it's probably because of I've been playing for such a long time where it's a bit more routine right now. But yeah, I just really enjoy the coaching aspect. Okay, let's see. This was limped and checked to the river. And I imagine 9-6 will go for a small value bet now. And then ace-8 will raise. Oh no, it's a pot sizing, so-called. Okay. Pot with a 9, I think looks a bit too big. I would imagine you want to have two sizings here, like small and larger, and then 9 probably go to the smaller sizing. I think against pot ace-8 is just supposed to call here. But again, I could be wrong here, because post-flop ICM in a limped blind versus blind pot. Who knows? Who's to say? And okay, ace-8 makes the call.
It's interesting that, yeah.
He gets the emote from Chris. I guess Chris was not fond of the pot size bet with the 9 either.
Yeah, Chris is giving a little feedback to the fellow Austrian flag there. They're both in there again. Two countries that are very strong, Brazil and Austria. No Brazilian representation today. And we are up to 800 on with 80 hitting that thumbs up. It's 10%, guys. We can do better than that. We got the tickets to give away the $150 ticket. And again, the link is out. I put it, Jeff Gross Poker on Twitter. $50 cash. I will pick that by the end of the show. So go ahead and get that out. Get your guess on who's going to win so far. I mean, Roman Ashka got to be the favorite, but man, he plays. I think a couple of these guys licking their chops. They know that he is capable to play big pots and get it in. Like you saw him happily get that ace-5 suited in for the 2-1 behind, right? He was drawing to the pure flush, put it in and drilled it. But he is not afraid to play big pots, that's for sure.
Here, I think you have to be a bit careful with Queen 7 suited, because Romaska showed that he's not a folder. So, yeah, I think you probably shouldn't be doing too much bluffing when he snap called that bottom pair before. And then he just folds Queen 10 and I'm an idiot, but let's see. Yeah, well, see, I'm an idiot. Confirmed. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Good bet.
Okay, am I traveling to Jeju? Yes, I will be traveling there for Triton.
What's your favorite event at the Tritons?
I think I enjoy the bounty tournaments the most. I generally really like bounty tournaments, both online and live. I have a bounty course after all. So yeah, has to be the bounty tournaments.
Give me one tip, and it's a course. I know that's one of your specialties. Wow, interesting board here for the short stack.
Yeah, let's see the hand first, because I'm sure stacks will go in here. 7s, I imagine c-bet, 6-5 check raises, 7s jam, 6-5 doubles up. But let's see.
Pretty promising. Pretty good flop for 7 as well. Would normally appear.
Yeah. Yeah, big blind stack is so shallow. The 7s is basically the nuts on this board.
Now, what is in practice though? 4-5 suited. Let's say Leo has instead, right? Which is the best draw here. Would he be doing that probably with the check raise 4-5 suited?
Yeah, I think you primarily want to be raising this flop and not doing much calling as the big blind. So raise your draws, your gut shots, your backdoor flush draws, stuff like that.
It's interesting too, because even against 4-5 suited, right, which is a real, like the one real draw, which is close to what he has, he doesn't. But sevens just crushed that because the seven's no good. So like drawing, really thin, but it happens to have a 6 and is, as you said, gonna likely get it in and double here. I mean,
Yeah.
Leo, loving this. Both players liking it, loving it though for the 6. Leon gonna be disappointed to see a 6 under that hood of the short stack, but Leo doing a little time bank here, trying to see what's going on. Interesting, the chess clock that they don't. It's not 15 minutes now. It is done off various factors. They give a rate of time at the final table. We see some players already short. Minko at 4:45. But that was interesting. They've changed that. I think where it's not everyone just gets 15 minutes. They have a new formula. And here we go. Clicks it up. And Leon, though, are you worried at this point? Do you believe you're beat? Is there a world where you ever fold here or no at this as played?
I think 6-5 suited is kind of trying not to double up in a way. But no, I don't think sevens can fold here. The risk is just too high that you're up against some draw, maybe like ace-3 or something like that, or king-3 suited. But definitely this clickback makes it less likely that you are winning with sevens. Like the main thing you're looking for with sevens is that you get it in against a 3, and the 3 is almost drawing dead. But when he goes for this clickback, then seven's probably not up against the 3 that often, but still too risky to fold.
Yep, it's in though. Cards on their backs. He's got less than 10% of time. 7 coming now. Less than 5. 4.55 to be exact. 2 outs, 1 to come. No, it isn't, and that is 1.7. Leo back in it, and Leon gonna get disappointing news there as he now is the actual tied for shortest stack, basically dead on with our player Ilya there. 3 off in the big line for him. So no one critically short right now. Action has been happening though.
I think this is a good open now because you are one of the big stacks. Like it's pretty different to when Ilya opened the previous time. He was the middling pressure stack. Now Watson is the second stack, so he can open fairly wide. Especially when we saw that Romashka hasn't been playing particularly aggressively. Okay. Let's see. Ace-5 suited. Reasonable 3-bet hand. King-9 suited, 3-bet. King-8 suited, I think, would be too wide. Yeah.
Tell me why Ace-5 suited is better than Ace-4 suited. Why that particular hand is loved so much as a.
There's no real reason for that. I mean, Ace-5 suited is Ace-4 suited here. These are kind of the same hand. Basically, in this spot, you're looking for blockers, and I think using 2 high cards is going to be better. Like, let's say King-Queen off will be a better 3-bet than this when you are so shallow. But low suited aces are still being used a decent amount here.
I also believe that we don't really see any more flatting. I almost never see now this Leon with flatting. It seems like it always goes re-click. Is there a time where you would just flat aces here?
No, you generally don't want to be flatting 3-bets out of position with ICM. So I suspect what's going to happen is that Leon will click, and then Ace-5 suited is probably one of the best 5-bet jamming hands after you end up 3-betting it. Because you block aces, which is the number one thing you need to be aware of. But let's see.
Right. Because you're over 30% or what it is against every hand but aces. And for that reason.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to be 5-bet jamming some bluffs as well. You can't just be 5-bet jamming your Vigo range. And out of your entire 3-betting range, Ace-5 suited is probably the best 5-bet jamming hand. But let's see. It's also sort of, he goes for it, and aces call.
Didn't have to stew long. This is the same guys we just saw, 7s to 6-5. Will Ace-5 have a sweat? Not really. Not really. Needs a...
no show.
That is a 0% on the turn. Elke scratching the head. Elke liking it. The Elke emote. And that is a redefined chips back. 2.5 million. Leon right back in the thick of it. And Leo back to our short stack. Was there a way out? Was that maybe the time to cut and release the Ace-5 suited once you got resistance? Or
after
maybe a little
dynamic? 3-bet, I don't think so. After you 3-bet, I don't think so. Not against an aggressive, well-studied guy. Ace-9 suited open.
Easy come,
and
easy go.
King-Queen off flat, I think, is correct. 6-3 suited is pretty interesting, the decision here, because you generally don't want to be calling these kind of hands, but you are against, I guess, the less experienced chip leader, and you play in position of the small blind, so calling these suited connected hands probably becomes a bit better. I told him to call. See, he would have 2 pair.
Well, careful what you wish for, because you got Romanashka with that nut flush draw, and as we've seen historically, there is okay. Well, yeah, you're right. Never mind. He did fold. That would have been an interesting pot. If 6-3 suited came in there, that would have been a big pot for sure. But he did not call. You're right. He told him to call. Interesting. Takes it down. Romanashka right at 6 mil, as we see a Leo Ace-5. What's that? A hijack. Getting close, but
I think you can potentially min raise this hand. Looks fine. And Ace-10 off, I imagine you just want to fold here. You don't really have 3-bet folds, so you're looking for hands to 3-bet call, so just need a bit better. Yeah, looks good. And King-9 suited, I imagine just call, see a flop.
yeah, and if you have notes though that your opponent does more, maybe go a little more liberal on the min raise off short stacks, is that maybe a reason why he would do that with King-9 suited, thinking this player is weighted more towards nutted hands, that he does go with Ace-5s and some of those hands?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The line is very thin there because your value range for min raising is very limited because you want to be jamming most of your hands with 7 big blinds. So if you are adding a few more combos of bluffs, then jamming super wide from the big blind is very profitable. King Jack jam seems correct. Let's see, kings. Any victims? No action. What would be good 4-bet bluffs in Leon's spot there? So you would want to have an ace, so maybe some sort of like ace-jack. Probably some like low suited ace, something like that would be a good non-all-in 4-bet bluff in the previous spot. Oh, 7-5 defense against 2.5x. I think this is suboptimal because even if you think you have an edge over your opponent, 7-5 off against a 2.5x under the gun range is just not going to be good enough. So I think still folding it would be best. It's fine to expand your defending range a bit, but I think 7-5 off is just a bit too much.
Blind on blind here. I mean, Leon 4-10 suited, got 2 big stacks there, not going to get involved. Ace-3 suited. This is tricky. This is one where you see Romanashka is in a nice spot, doesn't go ahead and raise. Tell me, but Alex, come on, what's happening with that? Tell me what that. I mean, that's out there. I'm sorry, that's out there in every which way. And what is Chris calling with? Is he folding Ace Queen? Like, is it are you bear trapping that? Like, what does he do with Ace Queen off there?
Ace Queen probably has to call because I imagine you just dominate a lot of ace-6 that the big blind will do that with. But this is another spot which is just counterproductive from Romashka. You jam and you get called by the traps, but you fold out every hand you're doing well against. Like we saw here, Chris had ace-3 and just snap fold. You don't really want to do that with ace-jack. You want to allow your opponent to put more money in with worse hands. Because otherwise you're just bluffing, right? When you jam for so many blinds with ace-jack.
That was crazy. That's a crazy shove. That'll wake you up. Someone might be napping. They got on the side. If you got the commentary on, if you're listening, that'll wake you out of your chair. That was not a conventional hand. This is going to be a nice highlight. I got to give.
And now he doesn't jam though, because this would be a very clear jam. I think you have an ace and your opponent has like 7 big blinds or something. Ace-3 off, not particularly good to induce. So I think he should have jammed this one.
Well, he got max, table max. He got a call and then got to pick it up there. So nicely done. Again, he's cooking. Romanashka is out there on a mission today. He is going for, is that right? His 4th title.
Big flip.
I mean, that is crazy on the GGMillion. That is very fine company to be in 4 titles. 3 is already impressive. That's the most, more than Sir Watts, more than also Leon Sturm. So this guy Romanashka, you mentioned, is not a full-on professional, a little more recreational, but does does play big pots, does have the properties to win. He knows how to win. You know, he's not a guy that's going to limp in 9th or 8th. He goes for big pots, plays poker, has some good instincts, and also has closed it out. And Chris Nguyen here with
We
Ace
have a
Jack
very interesting
off.
spot here. Ace-king suited open, queens elected to flat, and then ace-jack goes for a squeeze 3-bet. Yeah, I guess it's okay. And then ace-king will jam, and I guess queens will fold. And that's very interesting.
No,
Because
it's gonna go. It's gonna go raise. I think Ace King and Queens will get. You think Queens gets away here? I guess with the action of a flat.
well, if you flat
raise,
pre-flop instead of 3-betting, that's the reason you flat, I guess, to just avoid this
yeah,
spot.
two
I think,
foolers, right? Yeah, like a king. Yeah, maybe. Does,
yeah, I
guess you're
think
right.
queens probably just have to fold here. It's a very weird spot. I would imagine queens are supposed to 3-bet call pre-flop, and then ace-king usually loses because there's an ace and a king down. Yeah, okay, we see queens just snap fold.
You know, which is amazing. Andrew now avoids a flip, picks up 750K on his stack. He gets like a 50% stack increase and doesn't flip there. Pretty fantastic result
Yeah,
for Andrew.
Sure. Which wasn't even a flip, right? Because an ace and a king were already gone. So ace-king suited was way behind. Okay, ace-queen. I imagine decent 3-betting hand here. Ace-queen off. See. Flat also reasonable, but I think you probably... Okay, sure. He flats. Romashka definitely coming along with 7-8 suited. And let's see. I imagine king jack checks, ace queen checks. And with how Romashka has been playing, he will also check. This is my prediction for the flop. Yep, okay. So far, so good. Now, Andrew here could start betting. I think just going for a small sizing bet is fine. You are probably always ahead of Leon's checking range, and Romashka will be flatting very wide. Yeah, small bet looks correct. I like it. 7-8 has to call once with the gut shot and the pair. Or not. Okay, and best hand wins.
Wow. What an exciting final table. This has been unique. I mean, again, so many have done just super interesting. This is always why I love tournaments, because it's never really the same. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. You just don't. And today it's got that mix of a little bit of everything. And some great players here today. I love Watson today. I just think he's got a good situation here. I just think I think this favors his game as ace-8 and queen jack.
Yeah, he was feeling it, I guess. Let's see. Was his feeling correct?
That is a pretty... Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I mean, 3-1 favorite all of a sudden after being in a long shot. Needs to fade some green or an ace, and that is not...
It's
Oh,
green. Okay.
what a dramatic run out. The spike.
Yeah.
The... What's that? 4 outs on the flop? No, it seems queen or jack non-club. Queen or jack 6, right?
Yeah, I think the call for like 14.5 big blinds was a bit optimistic, but it was a flip, so... Or almost flip.
Yeah, that would have expedited things even quicker, right? Would have been 7.5 down to 7 instead. Elia doubles, and now Leo is going to get that ace-8 suited in. He's going to get it in ahead. Ace-3 suited, going to go ahead and look that up for that amount of blinds. Ace-3 suited.
Yeah, for
Leon
sure.
Going to be calling, and 546 in the middle. 8-8. That is 100.
Yep, that is a double up.
Yeah, he's going to get the double up. 64 more. You can't believe it. He doesn't have to fade runners there. You can see the stats on the lower left of your screen for Leo, as that is 100% confirmation there.
A comment in the chat says, Romashka playing the never let them know your next move game, and this couldn't be more right. I have no idea. I cannot predict his moves for sure.
Oh, here he comes, coming in, ace-10 off. Jack out of the
Worth
way.
pointing out, he
Andrew,
went for a min raise this time. When he had like kings and stuff, he was going for 2.5x, and now he just goes for a min raise.
sixes. Wilson thinking, can I get just a call? Nice spot here. Would be enough. Doesn't call.
I think supposed to be a fold in theory, but maybe you can make a case for calling it in practice against the more unpredictable chip leader.
Would have flopped the bottom set versus the ace diamond and then the king high flush draw. I would have still had a little meat on the bone to win the hand. Chris would have completed right with king four suited, so there would have probably been able to construct a pretty nice situation for himself though in making a raise. And now king four going to raise the king high flush draw. Interesting.
Yeah, I think you could go either way with king four suited. You could raise or you could call. And we've seen Romaska make some pretty big folds so far with folding like pairs and draws and stuff like that. So I think I would lean more towards raising as well, knowing what I know now. And surely ace 10 has to fold now, right? Yeah, okay. We got one move right.
Well, sixes is thinking what could have been. That would have been a very interesting hand there, as he would have got some chips, at least at the moment as it turned out. It would have been going his way, but he does fold. Leo now queen eight suited, sub 10 folds, ace jack suited. Ilya had a pretty intense run out there, got turned to queen, and then had to hit the 25%er on the river after getting outdrawn in a sort of flip pre-flop. So everyone getting their money's worth for excitement today. But the payouts on your lower left, seventh place, we are guaranteed eight. What's that? Eight left. Eight left. Start with 9, 8th place. And you can see how the jumps get moving. And ace jack going to go ahead and challenge Romanashka's big blinds.
Yep, and he folds. Looks good. By the way, fun point. So Andrew made 2 tight folds so far. First with 6-3 suited, now with sixes, and both times he would have the nuts on the flop. Something to think about.
Yeah, see how that plays out for him at the moment. Still pretty tight, right? Mike Watson 2.8, Andrew Wilson 2.6, Minko 2.5, Chris Wen 2.6, and Romanashka 4.9. So really pretty healthy everyone but Leo in this wide open. Seems like there's more chips. I guess it was a little bigger for the first prize today at 390. I think a few more entries than normal. Just a little more chips involved, but it's still wide open.
Okay, and here I guess Leo has to jam and king queen calls and 7-4 suited hopefully probably folds, but let's see.
Could be the year he was born. You know, maybe just
yeah, that's true. Well, it could be. I think with how wide Romaska is flatting king queen, yeah, okay. It goes and 7-4 suited folds. And let's see.
See how this shakes out. King queen is got the club not working. The ace clubs, backdoor clubs covered for the ace 10. Now the river 6 cards, any king or queen, or we will continue on 8-handed here. Oh, dirty. It just doesn't seem like it's going to go like that. And then there's the Greg goes all in, running hot. There it is. The emoji, the love, the energy there. And 7 are left. This is now 90,000 guaranteed. Good game there for Leo. He fought. He kind of had a little yo-yo as a short stack, teased a bit, but ultimately didn't get to emerge into the game as a player who was sort of on the short stack. We are down to 7. Appreciate everyone hitting that thumbs up. Hope you're enjoying. We got over 900 watching. And again, you can give Alex a follow on, he is more active on Instagram. Also Twitter, I tagged him. That's on my post, $50 cash, Jeff Bros Poker. That is the tweet there. You guys are able to do that. Be involved. So multiple, three giveaways today. 3 giveaways. Ace 8 suited, big flop. Sir Watts.
I want to highlight here that pocket 9s folded, which I think is a very good fold. It's similar to the previous spot we mentioned. So we had the open from low jack here, and then 9s on the hijack just folded, which I think is correct as this kind of middling stack. And yeah, you say bet and take it. Romaska not even thinking about 3-betting, and this is what I said about him playing a bit more like passively. He's gonna call a lot, but he's not gonna be the person that does a lot of 3-betting pre-flop, I think. And Jack 10 suited, I imagine, is gonna call. Yeah. So usually this is supposed to be a very good board for the big blind. But here it's a little bit different because we know Ramaska is flatting more like 5-3 suited, 6-4 suited kind of hands. So Ramaska hits this board more than he should in theory.
Yep. Somehow he's in the lead there with the 4 on the 5-4-7 queen, splits all those paint cards with the players' Broadway cards, 10, Jack, King, Jack, and the queen is not there. And at the moment, ace-4 in the lead. Had the best hand flop, pre-flop, flop, turn, and no one with the draw even. So he's going to go ahead and take a shot at it here.
Yeah, and I guess he's going to win. No one has anything.
Yeah. Most likely Chris wheel spinning, but.
Yeah, you could make a case for maybe raising King of Diamonds here because you block your opponent's best Queen X and you can fold out some like Ace X or some random pocket pair. But I still think it's probably a bit too wide. Like you want to have some equity when you do this. Maybe actually have like a gut shot or a flash draw or something like this.
Wow, really impressive raise, honestly, whatever happens, and he is going to get him to fold. That is a high level play from Chris, man. What a bluff and ambitious. Sometimes it's like that contrarian thought, right? Oh, this guy's crazy. I bet he's playing aggressive. I can't bluff him, but actually, in theory, it works out in a spot where you get to, because as you noted, he actually does hold some pairs and draws, right? He does play at times a little bit. So really nice recognition. And Chris with a power play, they're going to put him sort of in contention.
Yeah, sure.
That was the play of the day in my mind. Definitely out of the box hand.
And he's almost tied for the chiplet now. So someone asked, what's my name on Instagram? If you just search for my online name, Pondidi, you can find me. Or my IRL name, you can find me either way. Queen 9, I think, fine open, and Ace King, standard 3-bet. And now Queen 9 has to fold.
Yep. Nice pot. Sir Watts not able to get going too much here, but still does have 2.7 and very even. Again, now we are really in a spot where no one's super short. 20 blinds, Leon little over, right? 22 blinds, plenty of play across the board. And we are at 7. Really like the new overlay graphics from GG. There's the payouts lower left, and it shows you who went out where.
And yeah, it looks very good. King 10 offsuit folding here from the hijack, I think, was a bit too tight. He was also opening a lot generally, so a bit surprising to see him fold Queen 10, but... And also, I hate to break it to you, but it looks like you're buying me dinner. All my picks have gathered quite a bit of stack, and then your picks have been losing, so...
Oh, we all know how that's a pretty early call, but yes,
I jinxed it, and then immediately he flops a set.
It is early, but you're right. It is going breaking your way right now. I would take talk buyout, but yeah, we'll roll the dice. We'll roll it. Maybe offer just dessert and appetizers, and get out of its main. But we'll see. I'm a gambler in my and at heart, so we'll run it. We'll run it. Good luck. What's your favorite food? What kind of meals do you like? What's your favorite kind of restaurant? Talk Vegas.
Yeah, I generally enjoy fine dining quite a bit. I don't like fast food a lot. In Vegas, there is a very nice restaurant in Aria whose name I forget. And then there's also like the SW Steakhouse at the Wynn that I like a lot.
Yeah, it's got a...
What about you?
Yeah, it's SW Steakhouse is great. I like some stuff off the strip. There's like Kabuto, some like Asian, Japanese sushi spots, but on the strip, yeah, those are SW Steakhouse is great. Yeah, I haven't spent as much time there the last couple of years. I got the young kid, so I go for like a week or two, and I'm not as much there and spend much less time. But yeah, some great restaurants in Vegas. I would say SW Steakhouse is a nice staple. We could settle on that. That could be a nice. Are you gonna play the whole WSOP? Is that your plan to be out there?
That's the plan, yeah.
How old are you?
31.
Kids, wife? No.
We have an interesting hand here. Interesting spot. It was a limped pot, and 5-3 went bet. And Chris now with a decision on the river. 5-3 just snap bet all 3 streets, like no thinking at all, just immediately betting.
I think Chris has got this man figured out a bit. I think there's a chance he calls, right? Like to think, does he have does he bet the jack or not? Also the blind on blind. Look at that. What a call.
There we go. Chris has his number.
He does. And you know, if you think about it, and you on that river when you bet, it is sort of like, it is almost like you're repping that, you know, what are you going to do? Maybe you don't value bet as wide on with the 4-liner. And as it played, you know, the ranges are so wide on blind versus blind that does make sense for the airball hands that maybe outweigh the value there. So nice pickup. Chris is so far our MVP in my mind. He is playing out of his mind, and yet is your pick and your friend as well. And he is now a 100% chip lead.
And this was an interesting hand to highlight how GTO and theory knowledge doesn't matter sometimes. Like you're playing against a line that isn't supposed to happen much in theory, and you have to figure out what your opponent is doing and adjust accordingly and call with King 7, as we saw Chris do. Aces, no action, sadly. Here, let's see. 7s, I imagine open, Ace King 3-bet. What do you think 7s are gonna do here against the 3-bet?
Probably fold, but I mean, I guess there is a world where as the risk premium sort of lowest, do you ever stick it in here with crisp newfound chips showing aggression? You roll it, you know, do you rip it in? I mean, I don't think calling really is an option. I think shove or fold, and maybe player dependent. You roll the dice that he does have a fold hand, and maybe you flip.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you know him better. I would think that he would. Yeah, maybe I would lean slightly more towards shove, but I wouldn't be shocked to see fold. And we're gonna see 5 for a huge moment in the tournament. Ace King 7s. 7s is needing to hold as a good spot. Going to the river. What do you think? A lot at stake, and it is
It's a 3. Is the 3? It's a 3.
I thought it was an ace for a second, but no, it was a clean river. And Leon showing us that, hey, we're here to play. And this is all but we asked for. This is now a wait, what just happened? What was that? It was on
no 3 is a straight for Ace King.
Oh my goodness. I actually missed it. I was just looking for the ace of the king, and then I saw he was gone. No. I said, what did I miss? Did I miss the flopper turn? Oh my goodness, Chris Nguyen. That is a wow. Okay. Well, GG. That was gotta wake up there. I gotta have my second shot of espresso. I missed that. I completely missed it. That's on me, everyone at home. Maybe you missed it too, but the wheel gets it done. That is part of the flipping equation. You got broadways, you got 4, you know, make a flush, you can make the low wheel, and he did just that, as it is a down to 6 affair with a 6-figure payout coming up there. Missed that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think I was going to say that pocket 7s jamming is reasonable. At this lower stack depth, you want to jam pocket pairs. They do pretty well against Ace King and maybe Ace Queen suited that your opponent could be 3-betting. So I think jamming 7s is reasonable. And yeah, Ace King, of course, hand plays itself.
Cards, you're right. All right, put the link one more time. So I was asking the giveaway. Yeah, $50 cash. That is retweet. Yes. Luck. That's out of my pocket. And we will have 4-handed. I will queue up a $50 ticket, then a $100 ticket. Aroma Nashka. This guy's he's got flavor. I like it. This is fun. This is what you want, right? You want to have a little bit of a Chris as well, putting on a show, putting it in, not kind of splashing, making plays. As we see, this is definitely on the, with the stack sizes, you think it could take longer because it like, oh, everyone's kind of got chips, no one's super short, but actually in theory, this is how it's going. It looks like this could be quick work depending on, I'm always surprised though on the GGMillion. It's funny. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's an hour and 45. Sometimes it goes 3.5 hours. I'd say typically around 2:45 is like an average, but this is enjoyable. This is one of those ones that is a lot of notes. Will be a great highlight. I do put those out on my Jeff Bros Poker knockout hands. That is videos that have been going out recently. Started that maybe last 6 weeks where we start putting those out. So yeah, please check it out. And it's fun edits to them too.
Yeah, with this lineup, I would imagine this will take less time than usual. I told you it would be a very aggressive and action-heavy final table, and I'm sure it hasn't disappointed, right?
No, it is not. This has definitely been fun. Been very fun. I got
Honest Panda, thank you.
I got a question about how Trump and in general, like sort of in Greece and how it's viewed, like Trump, the election, the U.S. politics. Just like I don't want to get too off topic, but quickly, how is this sort of election viewed, and do people follow it, or because are people like paying attention to what's going on with that?
Yes, they do, and as you can imagine, there are mixed opinions. Like he's a very controversial figure for sure. But yeah, I think maybe best not to get into politics.
Yeah, I just wanted more like overall like what the country views as
yeah, I think there's not a clear consensus. I think some people love him, some people hate him, some people are indifferent. I think it's similar all over the world, right? When you have such a controversial figure, you will have people in all across the spectrum.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. All right, 6 left. Ace 6 in the big. Chris with the ace queen suited.
Yep. A6 could call or 3-bet sometimes. I think either option is fine. I don't think you want to jam. That would be a bit too aggressive. But maybe against the chip leader, maybe. But it looks more like a 3-bet and not a jamming hand. Let's see. See what Ilya wants to do. Yep. Reasonable. And then ace queen just goes for it. But it's interesting the stack distribution where you have one very big stack, one very short stack, and everyone else is in the middle. So now this creates a bit of a waiting game where all the middle stacks are waiting for the very short stack to bust so they can play. Ace queen goes for the clickback, and I think this is reasonable. The idea is that if your opponent has a value hand, you're stacking off either way, and now you give him some room to potentially go for a 5-bet bluff jam.
Do you have any more context on the Minko pig situation? And hold that thought. We got the mystery hand. This is where we get to see what you would do, and the whole cards are down for everyone but Mr.
Okay.
Watson, King Jack off. So let's go ahead and play this hand, then we'll revisit the pig fetish or favoritism. I don't know what that is. He's got a lot of pig emotes over there. So King Jack off is the hand. Top pair, connected board, checks it over.
Yeah, I think you just want to be calling here. You don't really want to be raising and putting too much money in with a hand that can't really improve. So I would imagine we start with the check call.
Okay, 91 in the middle.
Yeah, with ICM, when you check raise for value, you just want to have stronger hands, basically. So far, so good.
We're aligned. The 6 on the turn. Now 550. Pretty deep stacked poker out of position. King Jack sort of one of those tougher ones. Easy when you're bluffing or when you're value betting, but when you're sort of in this like strong middling but tough hand spot, this is where the game is won and lost, and some tough decisions have to be made. Let's see if Andrew's going to keep the pressure on here.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and we face a pot bet. That's interesting. So I think we're actually close to indifferent already, and the main problem of our hand is that we don't really beat value. Our opponent is not going to be playing like Jack 9 like this or Queen Jack. So we don't beat value. We can't really improve much because our 2-pair might even be dead or might have reverse implied odds if our opponent has ace queen. And the king blocks the bluffs or some main bluffs from our opponent. So I actually think folding turn isn't unreasonable here. Calling a hand like, let's say, 10-9 or something like that is probably going to be preferable than calling a king that cannot improve. Or a jack, sorry, but cannot improve.
Yeah, it's a good point about the king. You hit the king, and that actually could be a hand that you're beating. So this is tricky. What do you got? What are you doing? What hand are you now in the river? You're also part of it is, are you willing to call here? Because you set up the SPR about 1 stack to pot ratio. So you're sort of really if you think your opponent can follow through on the river and bluff, that also is a problem because now you're going to have another tough decision here. But let's see.
I think you just have to snap fold the river with this hand. You are pretty much near the bottom of your range, and you block some natural bluffs, so I don't think you get to call king jack. That said, I was expecting a jam and not this kind of sizing. Here it does get a bit more interesting, but I still think the king is just gonna be too bad here. You would probably rather call something like, say, jack 4 suited or jack 5 suited. As for what boys value betting, I think it has to be better than 2 pair, basically. Wow. Yeah, okay, he had it straight.
Bet it. And I mean, honestly, though, it's sort of world class from Sir Watts, right? It's like we don't get to see what happened if the river was a deuce or a brick, and what would he follow through, Andrew Wilson? Because as played, Mike called with the best hand and then folded when he made his hand, right? So he actually got it kind of right to the river. But that
yeah, sure. But I think you probably want to fold the turn with king jack. I'm not sure, but I think that's what you probably want to do.
And there could be a part of that too where the notes go deeper, right? Where there it is, king jack suited, nice hand, kind of the solver world, right? This is one where you could shove and
looks nice.
Nice execution. But I think it's interesting that Watson also maybe just could be some player dependency there, thinking what will Wilson do on the river if he has king queen, ace queen, king 9 suited, something like that. What does he do if he misses? Is he going to follow through? And there could be a bit of bit of notes or tendencies that he might
for sure. And I could also very well be wrong with what I'm saying, and maybe folding king jack is way too tight.
Yep.
There were some questions. Okay, how much bankroll is required to play Triton events? So it depends on which buy-in, and it's basically a formula which depends on your ROI and the buy-in and the number of runners. So there's no clear answer. It depends. Ace deuce, yeah. Limp looks correct. And ace 9, I think, should primarily be isolating. And ace deuce is a reasonable limp raising hand. But let's see.
Yep. Ace 9.
Okay, go limp, ahead and ISO. And let's see. Does ace deuce go for the limp raise? I'm guessing yes. The more time he takes, the more likely he is to raise. There we go. And ace 9 has a bit of an interesting decision here. All 3 options are on the table. You can call, you can click it, you can fold. I think folding would be a bit too tight here. Click, I think, is a decent option against someone aggressive. But calling is also going to be fine. And the thing with calling is that you dominate a lot of the bluffs, right? Because your opponent will be bluffing like ace deuce off, ace 3 off, and you just dominate these hands. So I think you probably don't get to raise fold ace 9. I think you can call or you can click it, but probably not fold. And here comes the pig. Here come the pigs again. Okay. Oh, so you asked for backstory on the pigs. So I don't really know what there is in it, but we also noticed that he was posting a lot of pig GIFs. And then when we met him in Bahamas, he was also very excited to go meet the pigs on an island and take picture with them and feed them and so on. So I'm not sure what caused it, but he definitely has an affinity for pigs.
Very interesting. Roman Ashka, king deuce off with a little min click. Yeah, he does have some unconventional blind on blind play.
Yeah, I think this hand should just jam into the very short stack. 10-9 probably has to continue here. Backdoor straight throw, backdoor flush draw, potentially 2 live cards. I think you just end up calling. Minko is asking if his GIFs are working. He wants everyone to see the pigs.
Maybe he got limited. We saw a few. Maybe he's been trying to do more.
Yeah, maybe.
The ones that he's seen. And yeah, 9-10 suited thinking about.
Yeah, I think you just want to call. I don't think you want to raise. You want to keep in the non-equity random hands. And you probably have a bit too much equity to just fold.
Vladimir Minko had some good success in December at the Bahamas. The WSOP had a 100K, cashed it in the Triton main event. The 215, 19th place, also 28th place in the 26K super main. Got deep run there. See now, the 9-10 suited does connect with a extra draw, and he's getting bet into now for the second time. Interesting. Does this make sense to jam now?
I think you still want to call. The problem by jamming is that you don't really fold out too many better hands. I mean, okay, king deuce off in this case, but there's not many better hands left. So I think you just want to call and potentially bluff for rivers when check 2.
That's
okay. Well, now I guess you have to fold, and if you're feeling frisky, you can also click it back. No, I don't think so. I don't think you should click it back.
That's not recommended and might have worked.
No, but that's something Chris would do.
That's pretty sick. Pretty sick hand there. So again, Romanashka, unconventional, but gets the table max in that sense. He did bet king deuce off, min raise, bet, gets called twice. He had the best hand all the way through and through, and then holds. And here we go, ace queen, another good hand. Queen 9 suited looks good as well, and he's gonna.
I think you. I mean, it's okay, I guess, to call queen 9 suited because you have a not very aggressive player on the button, and yeah, I think it's fine.
Well, king 5 suited going to be welcomed into the hand, gets to stick with it, and now gets the best flop out of all the players. At least he's got some serious equity. Clubs working. King and a 5 actually are good. Ace queen in the lead. Queen 9 suited. Probably hoping for more from that flop. Has 2 overs, but not a ton of exciting runouts.
I would imagine if this gets checked around. No, it does not. Okay. But it's also a bit interesting because Romaska has been checking back a lot with like pairs and draws and so on. But now that he has this very middling ace queen, he elects to bet. King 5 suited, I think, could potentially raise, call, also fine. And queen 9 just has to fold, of course. Surely, right? Chris fold.
Chris surprised us a few times today, but yeah, that'll do it. Wow, what a drilled ace of clubs. Makes the nuts as ace queen hits top pair, and he's going to just keep betting and wonder if this will be a maybe slow down on Depaying the River, most likely if Vladimir just calls, and he's got to love this.
Yeah, but I think Vladimir has to raise here. Like this sizing by Romashka is very indicative of potentially a river check back. So I think when you have the nut flush with like a low card, you really want to raise here.
Yeah, maybe
you can make a case for calling when you have, let's say, king queen of clubs, because then you have both the high flush blockers. And once again, the opposite of what I say happens.
Well, he goes from the nuts to now losing to full houses, and Romanashka may decide that wow, he does.
He bets again. Okay.
Flush out there. The board paired. Minko is certainly calling, deciding to raise or not. I think he's looking.
I think you probably have to raise against these sizings and this opponent. You don't even have to go all in, right? You can just go like 2x the bet or something. But I think you have to raise this hand. There are so many worse flushes that Romaska can have. And like 2 pair, like ace 8, ace 7 suited. Ace queen, evidently. see. My guess is that Minko is deciding on the sizing if he wants to jam or go for like 1.5 million or something like that.
Yeah, using some of that chess clock down to 3 minutes. No one really short with that. And he's considering all options, maybe just thinking too, if I call, don't think he is going to call. I think you're right. But like if he does call, still he's got about 5 million. He'd be second in chips healthy. Is there some version of him having ace three suited or, you know, some hand that he loses to? And he does elect ultimately just to call. Maybe just weighing risk reward.
I'm not a big fan of how Minko played this. I think when you have such a strong hand against a player who has been shown to call a lot, you just have to put more money in.
Yeah. Well, no, look, at the same token, I agree. But, you know, he does have 4.8. He's in command. It's a splashy table. We got a really short stack. Get down to 5-handed, being second. And, you know, you're kind of, you feel like it's in a good spot. But yeah, I get it. I'm with you. I would have also raised, I believe, there. I'm pretty sure. Just that was, yeah, he's not sure either. I think he was really torn.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah.
And then, what do you think? Do you think Romanashko with the particular holding would have called a small raise? Probably that hand, most likely.
Probably. Like, if you click it back, he probably feels compelled to call. Yeah. Okay, this is interesting now. The jam is for 7.5 big blinds. Yeah, Queen Jack suited, I guess, probably just. You're supposed to fold, I think, but then you have the person calling 5-3 suited behind you, so it gets a bit tougher. I'm not sure. I think either fold or jam is fine. Call, I'm not sure about, because Romaska is probably just gonna overcall behind getting such a good price. So I think you either
one of those exact situations, like you then get a hand like Ace Jack that stays in and you're dominated by versus being in getting the extra.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you either fold or jam. I don't think you call in this spot. Again, we're talking not in theory, but against this kind of lineup.
Well, he's drawing dead now, right? Because as played, if they're going to go check, he would need an ace to chop because a 10 would make the straight and an ace. Okay, yeah. So the ace jack going to get there. So yeah, that was a bad situation for either way. Ilya was going home. It looks like once he hit call. That was
well, no, because if Romaska back jammed or if Chris folded, then ace jack. Or ace 10 would win, right?
I'm sorry, yeah. If he could, yes, if he had back jammed, that you're right. That would have been his path out to get actually triple and could have gone really well. But as they both call, it is Grim, and he is now going to see the bad news, and that is down to 5. One more, and we will queue up the giveaway. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, be subscribed. Over 1,000 on. Welcome in and welcome out to Ilya. Does take his 6th place in stride, 6 figures, 115 going his way down to 5. Some Titans here. Someone has to win, and we are going to see either Andrew Wilson would be a first-time winner. Romanashka, 3-time winner. Chris Nguyen also going for his first win. Mr. Watson with 2 wins. And Minko has a title as well. So what do you think? Going to get a new winner? You pick Chris.
Yeah, I believe in Chris. He's my man. I believe in him.
Feel it. That King Jack off was a tone setter. I really like that raise with the Queen. Just something that, you know, for all the right reasons, did it. Easy to see, easy to think about, not easy to actually execute it. Yeah. Multi-way there.
Also, the King 7 call down, blind versus blind, right? On the one-liner straight, where Romaska had 5-3. I thought that was also a very good call down. Okay, here he opens ace. Well, see, Chris takes no prisoners.
Big boy poker.
Yeah, so I think a7 probably a bit on the wider side. I think you usually want to use the lower a6 here and just go for a very big size with like ace dish off, ace 3 off. I think a7 you just want to call, but maybe I'm wrong. But Chris sniffs it out. King 4, I think call is fine, 3-bet is fine. Either option works with his hand. Let's see, what does Chris think?
All right,
Yeah.
he's in no prisoner mode.
Yeah, definitely no prisoners. And ace jack, I think, okay, you're not folding this hand. I think it's a bit too strong to use as a 4-bet bluff, as like non-all-in 4-bet. I think you can make a case for jamming, and I also think potentially calling is fine because you just dominate so much. Yeah, I think call is fine.
Chris does the first part. He puts in a big raise, and then does he want to continue the story? Okay, Jack 8-7. He has
I
command. He
think
is going to slow
not.
down.
Yeah, I think you can't really range bet this flop because you have so much of your air that has missed. So you have to be a bit selective with which hands you bet. And you don't even have like the backdoor flush draw blocking king. So I think you just check fold this hand.
Yeah, ace jack going to go ahead and take it in stride. Check back allows potentially the king to hit, or scary queen or king. In his mind, he's in good shape, probably, but also just
Yeah, ace jack is one of these hands where you either have like 90% equity or you have very low equity. So I think checking it back is pretty good and you allow your opponent to bluff. And so if the one overcard comes, well, unlucky.
Now he starts betting.
Yeah, I think it's well played. And king 4 just has to fold here. Yeah, okay. I think well played by both this hand. Okay. Queens. Probably
Ooh.
raise. 10-8, probably calling. I'm saying probably because you never know. We've been proven wrong many times.
Snap call, and this is looking like a dark path for Romanashka. This is like worst case scenario. The board pair 8 high, and Romanashka just gonna rip it in, and that is gonna get snap called. He's gonna have 2 outs with 2 to come. Needs help fast as it. Oh, Romanashka gets it. Can he just fade that lady on the river? It is, and that is pretty insane setup there to get such a good spot by Chris. Get to a flop, get him in a world of hurt, and then Romanashka out of the revival, the absolute revival. We're gonna get the giveaway started, but we're gonna wait a second.
Not even an overcard.
Yeah, that
for
was
10-8. Yeah,
that was pretty spicy.
Now we have another interesting one.
Yeah.
Jack 8 calling, I think fine. Probably bottom defend against the button. And here, I think check raising, getting it in makes a lot of sense with Jack 8. You're the shortest stack. The button is going to be very wide. You have a good kicker in your top pair. So I think your bet is going to be raising your pick. King 7, I don't think is going anywhere. Has to call and see a turn.
Scary card for Jack 8. Not one of the immediate best cards. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it just gets probably checked down at this point. Yeah, like both players reasonably happy with their hand. Just want to get to showdown. Oh, never mind.
Wow.
Not being checked down anymore.
Nope.
I think Jack 8 could potentially go for a block bet on the river. You will have some bluffs here that you want to bet, and then an 8 with a kicker is reasonable. Okay, he checks. King 7, jamming, and Jack 8, I guess, has to call. But let's see.
Yeah, I mean, man, Mr. Sir Watts gonna
Yeah,
wonder
I
here.
think that's
Maybe
all. That's all she wrote for Sir Watts. Sir Watts.
really, you think with the 10 and the 7, it's sort of a bad run out, no? He's opening the button that he's gonna bluff here. I mean, a little bit. Like I'm just saying, those are sort of bottom, I'd say, turn and river cards out of like the if from the 8.
Sure, but if you fold this, what are you calling then?
Sometimes you got to get it. You got to go exploitative. You just got to step out and move
And
on to
fold
the next.
everything? Yeah. I don't know. I think that would be a bit disrespectful against the high stakes cash player who will probably find enough bluffs here. Like you have to call some of your 8x, and this looks reasonable, I think.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I think that seeing the whole cards hurts, right? It just feels like oh yeah, you could get away from it. Yeah, but you're right. Just how many times? What else? So what are as played though? What bluffs do you think what are some like obvious bluffs he would do here?
So King 9 suited, Queen Jack suited, a bunch of these.
Habit Jack.
Like 5-6 suited. Ethiopian 6-4 suited, also, I think. All are gonna play very similarly.
He's got 30 million in earnings, 30 all-time money list. He has been known to make great plays. I agree. I by all means, I'm not saying, yeah, I get it why you're supposed to call. I'm just saying I think that if you were to take a bunch of different runouts, I'd say the 2 cards that came out are a bit scary. That's all. I'm not saying that you
No,
can.
no, I agree with you for sure. For sure, it's a scary run out, but you still probably have to end up calling some hands because you bet your 10 on the turn. You don't check raise a 7, so you just don't have many hands left on this river to defend your range with.
What do you think, audience? 1 call, 2 fold. What does he do? I think he's gonna find a fold. Maybe I'm just hopeful because it's my best chance for my dinner wager and a friend of mine, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. I do think 1 call, 2 fold. I think he's gonna find a fold. Sir Watts got a baby now too. Diaper money, pay jumps, ladders come into play a little. It's all relative and all relevant. He's not scared, that's for sure, but I don't know. I just don't know. A lot of clock being used. Minko at 2:35, 5 minutes for Sir Watts, 3 minutes for Wilson. Clock could come into play later. Kristen Wynn down to 2:38. And this is sometimes how the stream takes longer as we do see more situations where players burn a lot of clock. This is one where we're seeing minutes in the tank. It is for a lot of money. It is final 5. It is going to be what? I mean, is he doing the beautiful mind? Is he just is he thinking? Is he really just what's he cranking
Yeah,
here?
it's a tough spot to figure out which bluff catcher you want to use, like what kicker of your 8 you want to use to call with, because they all have something going for it. For example, someone in chat said call ace-8, king-8. Yeah, but these you probably value bet on the river yourself.
Wow.
But he folds. Great fold.
Oh, I gotta send him a message on that one. I'll wait till after.
Yeah, no, it's a very nice fold.
That's a nice fold. Great hand. Great hand. Wow, impressive. Impressive. And let's see though, also there is that now. Does he get to he's also to your point too, he is the shortest by far, right? So it's like you have to be right there. And then also how often does it translate into pay jumps or moving forward, right? You still have work to do here. And obviously if you get bluffed, it'd be a big disaster. All the more impressive when you're right, because to get that right,
yeah,
right.
for sure,
gotta
for sure,
right.
100%. Okay, Queen 7 suited on the button. I think you open this hand. Yeah, the thing is, you're just the shortest stack, so you're not really waiting for someone to bust. So sure, you have to be a bit tight, but I think Queen 7 suited is strong enough to open probably.
A lot of diamonds here. 4-5 suited.
Yeah.
Andrew upstairs 4x. This is sort of unlucky because you got a hand that wants to play, has you dominated in the suits, and then you're in position. You got you could just flop this straight 4-5 suited. That's going to happen. Wow.
So much for dominating, right?
Yeah, that is not easy to do. So you unblock pairs, you unblock clubs. Do you just start betting? Is that pretty standard here? Or do you ever slip a little rope?
I think you primarily want to be betting. You can use weaker hands to trap or sort of balance your checking range with.
Yeah.
I think the straight, you just have to start building the pot and go for stacks by the river. And he does, but Minko had nothing to continue.
Nice flop, nice hand, nice aggression. 4.3 wide open here. Romanashka got bailed out, lightning in a bottle. Now he's got eights, and I guess we're going to see 5 here. It's going to go get in and eights for this stack on sub 20 blinds. Romanashka going to get in there, and we'll see if Watson can take that great fold and make a little bit of a run, or will it all be for naught and take us down to 4 in giveaway time? Let's see. Romanashka raising on up. Watson, ace, queen. How will it play out? Pretty fair fight. 3 million just south in the middle. Ace queen dominating flop, has clubs covered, needs the 8 only, hit an 8 last time with 2 outs versus queens. Can he do it again? It is a deuce. That is a double. And here we go. Watson, great fold. And now he is in the mix to go on up in ladder, potentially win now. Very healthy again. And that is running cold for Romanashka.
Yep. Civil war between your picks.
Yeah, both in. How are we doing on that? You've got Nguyen, you've got Wilson,
and Minko.
Oh,
all 3 of my guys are here.
Great picking by us. All 5 of our players are in, and I'm missing 1, but out of 5 remaining, we have 5 players in. So
yeah, that's actually very noteworthy.
It is. It is. It is strong. It is good picking. We know our players, we know our opponents, and you have more chips at the moment, but it is not over yet. I'm ready. Steve Wynn Steakhouse. That sounds good. I like that decision. That's a good choice, and we'll have a great meal either way. Someone's going to win. That's the thing. It won't be a split. And I think thus far, I mean, Chris has impressed me. He has impressed me the most, and he's got the chip lead. So see if he can finish this out. Get his first GGMillion title.
I think Watson has also played phenomenally, right? Just putting money in while he's ahead, and then always folding when he's beat, both in the King Jack hand and now with Jack 8.
Yeah, he really, again, just gets it right so often. It's pretty been surgical. Just really, really well played. Ace 10, ace 9, ace 10 going to play here.
Chris is thinking of value betting, I guess, but probably too thin. Yeah, I think it just checks down and Chris takes it. Could also make a case for 3-betting pre-flop with ace 10, but I think either way is fine. Someone is asking you, Jeff, what percentage of your dinner bets have you actually gone to dinner with? And if you think you're escaping, there's no way out for you.
Well, to be fair, that's a great question. I did make a joke about this because I do honor the bets, and generally, if I can't remember, I should be a little more organized. I just treat. So pretty much anytime I'm with someone and they've been on the show, I just treat them unless they come out and say that's a little bit of a trick for you two. I might forget, and I will automatically treat unless the person remembers. Because for someone being on, you should remember, right? But I've done like 150 or some of these, so I do sometimes forget in the moment. I should have a spreadsheet, but I generally like to treat, and then if someone loses and insists, I'll let them pay. But we got a real sweat here today. I'll remember this one. I'll see you. Should you come down to Florida ever? Do you get to the Hard Rock? Do you get any other series? You go to Triton? Sometimes I'm going less because of the kids, but I go those as well.
Yeah, I go to every Triton almost, and I also went to Florida in November, I think it was, right? Yeah, before Bahamas.
Very nice. Chris Nguyen, another favorable flop. Very nice spot. Gonna pick it up. That's 7 mil. He is rocking a nice stack in a nice position in a very fun final table that we've had. Things have slowed down slightly. Blinds have gone up, but we're getting to that portion of the tournament, real money on the line, and it's sort of game time now. Ace 4 suited, 10-7 suited. Gonna limp. See if Chris decides.
Yeah, imagine 10-7, just check.
Although he does seem to like to really put pressure on. This is a normal, right? You would expect check back for sure, but he doesn't. And does Minko want to go ahead and take this on upstairs now? And one of the reasons you wouldn't want to raise 10-7 suited if you did get blown off it, but as played now, he picks up backdoor spades, gut shot, 10-7 also live. So all of a sudden went in a decent position in this hand, as it turns out that they got here now. Ace-4 suited, though, certainly not going to go anywhere, although that's a big bet.
Yeah, I think ace-4 has to fold against this big sizing. Against a small bet, maybe you can call once, but now I think just have to fold.
Really well executed hand that turned out. Chris Wen put the pressure on. Minko had a chance to maybe shoot it up after that raise. He didn't, and then the flop worked out where he took it down. And this is a hand. Romanashka, this must look like aces to him. This is like in the big blind, blind on blind, Jack 10 suited. Gonna call as middle pair. Ace deuce gets out flop. 3 monotone club board. Gonna get snap called. Maybe one where Chris decides not too much more chips wants to put in.
Yeah, I would think.
Wow.
Well, there we go. Doesn't matter what I would think. But no, I was gonna say that with how Romaska has been running, I probably wouldn't bluff him much here. But Chris even goes for the value bet. I love it.
Sick hand. And he folds, snap fold there for that price too. Interesting hand. Minko, tier 1, ace king suited, one of the prettiest hands in the game, especially 5-handed. Nguyen doesn't like to fold. You can see he's thinking about even there, but going to get out of the way. Queen 6 off, not a very attractive hand. Watson back up to 2.7, still your shortest stack. Queen 6 off, going to get it out of the way.
To answer Cool Spiller's question, so how should you play against very loose players who limp call many hands? Just mainly use larger sizings when you isolate them, and you can expand your range a little bit, but you should still stick to reasonably strong hands. Of course, it depends a bit on the player, but that's the bottom line. Okay, in pocket nines, I think you probably want a 3-bet call here against Romashka. Jam also fine. Against 3x, actually, maybe jam a bit preferable. But I think you have to take the aggressive option against this opponent.
Does Romanashka snap fold or snap call if he gets jammed on?
Good question. Good question. As the short stack, I'm thinking maybe snap fold, but I'm not sure.
Oh.
Me and Minko are not in sync today.
I think his pig gifts got paused over there. He might have hit his quota, the cap on free gifts, and he was irritated by it. We saw him mention that. He was maybe a little off his game right now. But hey, at the same time, he's got 9s versus 6s. Post flop, best hand, million in the middle. Does Romanashka keep on the aggression, or is this a little too scary? 3 spades, a lot of overs, 9 arrives for a set. Now almost no path. Nine's gonna really get the hand done here.
And he hits the 9. I guess he's gonna value bet. Maybe like half pot or something, or B70. Let's see.
Romanashka now your short stack 1.6, and actually interesting as a chip leader, he really got run away too. He got a lot of chips, and then there was sort of that moment that King Jack off against Ace Square Diamonds made a nice chip check raise from Chris Nguyen, made a little chunk out of the stack, a little chisel, and then a few other big pots didn't go his way. Now he is your short stack with 5 left.
Chris ends up calling King 5, I think. Reasonable. Similar spot to before. He could 3-bet, he could call. Everything fine. And on the flop, I guess you just check call. For raising, maybe you can use like 4-5, 3-5, but not King 5, I don't think. Ace-8, I think, probably goes for one more bet and then checks back the river. Let's see. Okay, Ace-8 checks. I think this is fine also. Ace-8 very close to the threshold for betting again. And king 5 I might just checks. Ace
Yeah,
8,
Andrew.
maybe half pot. Something along these lines is what I would expect to see. And king 5 is not the most unreasonable bluff catcher by having a king. Oh, it's a pot size bet, actually. Okay. That's a bit bigger than I anticipated. Against this, I think you should probably fold king 5 and just, yeah. Yeah, looks good. Looks nice.
Impressed with Chris's play again, just sort of making quick, good decisions. Andrew now suited ace, going to run into Minko's ace queen on the button. 5-handed. The stack size, pretty big hand.
Am I wearing eyeliner? No, it's the light. The way the light hits, there's shadow created below my eyes. It's because of the lighting in the room. It doesn't really look like that. And no, I'm not wearing eyeliner or eyelashes.
Ace queen, ace deuce, both top pair has come. And the ace queen, much in the lead.
Mm-hmm. He goes for a small bet, and I think you should primarily be betting big on this flop. Like, you don't really want to bet, let's say, ace 5 suited, and you don't want to bet like pocket tens or whatever, so you bet strong hands and bluffs, so I think you usually want to use bigger sizings when that happens. Turn is the 8.
This could get a little dicey for Wilson. Minko now.
Yeah, I think Minko could check or go for a half pot-ish bet and then check back river. I think either option is fine. Okay, he goes for a pretty big sizing. And ace deuce is approaching the indifference point, but I think you probably have to call at least once more.
It stinks when you have no way to improve. It's tough, really, right? That's the problem. Like your ace 10, ace jack, ace queen have you just absolutely caged. You are beating jack 10. Queen 10.
Yeah, but one of the things to consider here is that whether you have, let's say, ace deuce or ace 10, it's the same because your opponent isn't value betting ace 10 for this big sizing. So you want to look for a kicker that doesn't block your opponent's bluffs. So ace deuce is probably a better hand than ace 10.
Yeah. Well, but I'm saying too, you can't improve, right? Because like that, you're right. But from the standpoint of you're dead, like you're buried, you're buried. Because if you hit the 10, you could actually draw out. If you hit the the deuce, but yes, I agree. You're the bigger picture on that is that are they bluffing or not? And that is good point. So a 5.2 Minko gets it done. Doesn't have to call a river bet as we see now. Deuces go to work 5-handed. Watson, king jack off.
I think deuces could potentially jam instead of min raise. It's not a particularly good min raising hand because you don't block any high cards. So I think you probably want to be jamming deuces in this lineup, but maybe I'm wrong. 4 deuce suited defend seems too wide. You can defend super wide here with Romashka being on the very short stack, especially against an aggressive, like competent player. I think 4 deuce is a bit too wide. And here you see why. You're not going to realize your equity. You just have to fold the flop now.
Yep. Six suited, king, queen off. Two of the big stacks. Two reasonable hands, suited ace and a king, queen.
King, queen just has to call. Yeah. And check fold, I guess. King Queen is a hand you probably want to continue against a small bet here in GPV, but now on the final table against the chip leader, you just have to fold a lot. Hey, Chris,
a question about When is GG
Go
going
on,
to be
sorry.
available in Greece? I'm not sure on that or where exactly how that works with what's going on and over that part of the world. You probably have a better idea.
Yeah, I also read that, but the thing is, I assume you don't really have much to do with management of GG and jurisdiction and stuff like that, so it's hard for you to answer something like this.
Yeah, I have a decent idea on a few things, but not that. Yeah, I don't know. Like even in the U.S., I know there's like a lot of they're looking at licenses in different states, but it's just kind of crazy, right? Daily fantasy sports betting, but poker, the beautiful game that we're calling, guessing, playing, and making
Yeah,
decisions. You can't play wherever, whenever.
yeah.
But hey, what do we know?
Just lack of understanding and I guess fear of what happened many years ago.
Yeah. I just hope it's not my grandkids. I hope while my kids are alive, they'll be changed, but it'll some point it'll happen.
Yeah.
A6 now on a four liner going for the value bet. Look at this, the confidence. No fear. This hand over 8 million now for Chris, your chip leader. Ace King Romanashka gets a quality hand here.
And
Not gonna get
see, he goes for the 3x again with a very strong hand.
Get a question about asking how you can talk how you moved up the nosebleeds to Tritons from and what kind of adjustments you had to make with going from Triton to just playing a daily schedule online.
It's a combination of studying a lot and then also grinding a lot to build up your bankroll to play them. Then, of course, also with live poker being a bit different, having to watch more footage and work on your like body language and lifestyles and so on. But for the most part, it's just starting to become better and then playing to make more money and afford the buy-ins. Jack 5 off. I think maybe a bit on the wider side.
Running cold, yeah. Could have passed on that one, but
yeah, okay.
Also,
running cold, yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, maybe thinks Romanashka also is going to play pretty straightforward on his jams and just thinks that it's a decent spot.
Mm-hmm. King 9 pretty close for a defend here, but I think it makes the cutoff point. Nice hand can make a straight. It's the second chip leader opening. So you see a flop. Yeah. And just have to check fold here. Maybe you can continue with the king of diamonds, but I think the 9 of diamonds is not going to be enough. Yeah.
See there, that is what is to play for. 147 for fifth, 188 for fourth. About a 40K jump here, and no one wants to go home. Sir Watts on a bit of a free roll, made a exploitative fold, if you will, or just a great fold on that Jack 8 hand we saw not too long ago. Very tough decision, got it right, and then doubled on a flip. So he is in a bit of a free roll mode, if you would, if at least for Alex standards, right? You would have expect him to call.
Yep, I would have been out.
Yeah, which again, you know, it's hard to say, right? Results oriented. Sometimes like he's going to have the bluff there though, too. So it's not always. I think Chris, you know his game better as well, and you know this is why it's so exciting to see these guys play at this level and kind of make amazing plays, thinking outside of the box, and again, why poker's beautiful. More than one way to play, more than one decision, and of course a bit of luck invested with skill. We see sevens and deuces. Sir Watt not interested in the deuces as ace 5 on the button. Going to hear from sevens. 145. You hit the thumbs up. Over 1,000 watching. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. Alex is in Greece. I'm from the US at the moment, and we are calling the action today in a big way. We got ourselves at a very exciting final table, and who's going to win? About halfway done with the knockouts. 5 remain, 9 started, 4 more knockouts to a winner.
Yeah, and your picks are not looking good. I'm sorry to say, but your picks are not looking good. Ace 5 off, fold on the button, I think is interesting, but good. You want to be very tight here opening into the 2 chip leaders as the third stack. Kinivos, thank you for your message. Happy to hear that. Okay, sevens, check it down, and I think probably too thin to value bet. I think you want to check again. He doesn't agree. And okay, I was gonna say I think Jack 6 probably a fold. I think you want to have like higher cards, maybe like Jack 9, for example, to call. But yeah.
Why would the Jack 9 be better than Jack 6?
Yeah, because your opponent is less likely to bluff 9 high. He's more likely to bluff, let's say 6-5, 6-4 suited, these kind of hands, but less likely to bluff, let's say 9-8, 9-7. So you generally want to have as high a kicker as possible along with your high card.
Makes a lot of sense. Queen 10, Queen 9, Queen 9 going for one here. Gets called out, flops the Queen 10. Under a minute on the clock for Minko. Both players with about a minute. Actually, 3 players around a minute of clock. And Roman Ashka, someone that has not burned clock, has more clock left than every player combined times 2. He is in there about with a lot of clock, or 1.5. He's got 10 minutes to Sir Watt's still 4 minutes. Everyone else sort of around a minute. Queen 10 has been out flop, 562 in the middle. Still wide open.
I think Queen 10 could potentially bet the turn. I think you want to have some bets here, and the 10 of clubs is a pretty decent club to have. Now, as played, I'm not sure if you want to bluff or not. Like, you win sometimes, but at the same time, you have pretty good blocker qualities. Okay, and it checks down. Sure. Yeah, I guess he gets it through.
Yeah, I think it's too close to call. Chris definitely with a good seat on Minko has the chip lead at the moment. 5-handed king queen here. Very nice hand at
All
3
or 3
bet.
bet. I think reasonable options. Yeah. And 4 deuce probably has to fold. It's just a bit too weak here.
Yeah, this is ace 5. Now with the best hand pre-flop and the best hand and best flop. 8-8-5 in the lead. Chris 2 overs, king queen.
Yeah, I think reasonable hand to start betting increases use, but check back also fine. Usually these kind of flops are very high bet frequency for the covering stack in position.
Debating now on the second part, checking to the river. These are weird
now I
for
assume it's
Chris,
just
right?
gonna get.
Yeah,
Sorry?
but you kind of know you don't have the best hand though, too, right? Because it's like most likely your opponent would bluff some Jack Queen or Jack 10 or something. So it's kind of these are weird in my mind when you like have a decent hand, showdown. Don't expect be good if it checks to Chris. Do you still you would expect him to check back there? Just played.
Yeah. If Minko checked, I would expect King Queen to check it down on the way. Ace 5 goes for a bet. Yeah, I think reasonable. Sizing I thought a bit too large, but doesn't matter. Small detail.
Roman Ashka gonna flat actually is in a flip situation and does have position, so possibly working out where he can get a good situation here where it's gonna get quite a electric flop.
I guess
The Jack versus tens. I mean, this is gonna be trouble for.
I guess he doubles up here. Like I don't think Chris is gonna fold tens.
He does just call now. Makes a full house.
Less likely he doubles up now, I think. The queen, quite scary.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad card for Roman Ashka.
Yeah, I would imagine tens probably block river and then fold against the jam.
250 bets.
And then queen jack, I guess, jams. and 10s probably fold. Thank you for the comments, by the way. I appreciate it in the chat.
Yeah, Chris running really well here, potentially to get off of this. He would have just doubled him up. Played it different or some other runouts. Does block the straight. Has to think, what jack does he have to check back the turn after calling? So it is a little weird. The line is a little bit of a funky hand, but
yeah, but we saw him fold backdoor straight backdoor flushes before, so he's just more weighted towards like a jack or 7s or 9s or something.
agreed. No one here with an ace even. This is now blind on blind 2-9 to suited versus queen, weak queen high, queen 5. Saw Chris shoot
Same
up to
stacks now.
10-7 suited. Yeah, gonna go ahead and check this one back. 3 players under a minute on the clock, and 2 of them 9 deuce suited, debating 263 in the middle.
I think this bet from 9 deuce is a bit optimistic. These kind of very locked high card boards, you don't really want to bet everything with. So you want to have some sort of connection, like some backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, just something going on for you. So I think 9 deuce with nothing should just check fold the flop. Especially when you play against a guy who is going to find enough defense against your bet.
Yep. Here's the 8, ace, king, jack, 8, 8, queen plays, 9 does not.
Yep. And we can see here how 9 high doesn't really bluff. As a point of what I said before about why you would rather call jack 9 over jack 6 in the previous spot, if you remember. Now we can see 9 high doesn't, like if he had lower cards, he would potentially be bluffing.
Yeah.
Ace king for Romashka. I guess he just jumps here. Yep.
Ashka up to 2.8 shows us 2.9 almost.
He's been shipping up. He's been shipping up.
Yeah, he's actually in third. Tied for third. He's 3 Minko going to work. Ace 10 suited flat in the small. Got his opponent dominated, and both have connected with a pair here. Likely gonna win some chips. Romanashka, so may slow down.
In these kind of spots, bluffing ace 3 is actually pretty good because you deny some equity from like jack 9, queen 9, you fold out some pocket pairs with a diamond. So even though you have a pair, it's a pretty good multiple barrel hand.
Wow,
and he gets ace 10 to fold.
Do a T.
Yeah, I think ace 10 probably not supposed to fold yet, but
look at this spot where Watson blind on blind. He's been coming out with some raising. It is a little different stage of the tournament and stack size. Let's see if he's going to go for 2.5 or 3 or limp. He does raise king 10. Certainly blind on blind. Too much hand to get away from right now. See if he even
definitely calling for king 10.
Oh, and then board now. It's the bait officially. Really nice flop with aces, ace of club, king 9 deuce disconnected, and got exactly what you wanted. Opponent clips top pair. He's got 5 outs, 2 to come. Backdoor clubs are even covered. Does have backdoor straight, but yeah, this is
not looking good for Andrew.
Nope.
Some saving grace, but probably not.
Yeah. How much does it matter, Watson, with the aces with the ace of club, even on this flop and turn versus aces with no club? Like, how much does that matter in terms of sizing or what you're targeting and how you also can represent maybe that you have a flush draw or something, like that you use that?
Yeah. I think the main idea is that when you have the club, you need less protection, so you can be checking more on some runouts. Like, for example, checking on this 9 on the turn makes more sense when you have the ace of clubs than when you don't. He bets again, and king 10 not going anywhere yet. Not loving it, but I think a bit too early to fold. And I assume Watson will jam the river. And one consideration is that when you have the 10 of clubs, that's actually a pretty good blocker because you expect your opponent to not bluff the river with a club that much. So king 10 with the 10 of clubs is, I think, a better bluff catcher than, let's say, king 10 with the 10 of diamonds.
You think it's actually better that you're saying it's better to have the club?
Yes, because your opponent will not bluff with a club, probably. And it's not great.
That's interesting the way you said that, though. And he's running out of time, but I was thinking the opposite in this particular spot, because then it mean okay. So actually, the fact that's like taking it to another level, because I would think that you're just saying because they won't bluff the club, though. That's why. That's less like that's interesting versus.
Yeah, and Andy makes a great fold here. I think very nice fold, especially with no time bank. Having like 30 seconds to figure it out and making the correct laydown of like top pair good kicker, I think is very commendable here.
11 seconds, 22 seconds. We have a possibility for some very interesting late heads up or shorthanded play with the shot clock now all of a sudden coming into play. This is pretty wild. We are going to get that giveaway going for you guys. I might have to start up soon. It's down to 5. Please do not spam. You can do it. All you got to do is do it once. If you want to do it second, just for good measure. But if you put it a lot of times, you will very likely be DQ'd from the giveaway. You don't need everyone putting it every time. You must hit that thumbs up. You must be subscribed to win. And my Twitter, I will pick here once we get down to heads up as well. Currently, I'll put that link another time in a while. But we see about 20 of you have done that. You can guess who wins. Hit the retweet. Good evening. Oh my goodness. Is that the legend of legends? Oh my goodness. Wow. No way. Wow. Adrian in the chat. Maybe you brought him in, Alex. The legend of legends. That is my guy I've known for 10 years. You must know VPRE music in the building. He is in there. Happy New Year. Haven't seen you in a bit. We are going to be in a huge situation here of a new potential champion, Crystal. And we might just see everyone with no clock. That's what we're coming up to here. Ace 8 is going to turn this hand into a bluff and get a potential.
Yeah, wow, that's a very interesting hand. So I think 8-6 betting turn and river is a bit too thin. I don't think you can value bet the river with a 6, and he just makes the call. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I think 8-6 river value bet a bit too thin, but very nice call after getting raised. Okay, I imagine Queen Jack opens and Ace Jack suited 3 bets non all in, but let's see. I think with Ace Jack suited, you want to induce instead of jamming, because you want to allow your opponent to jam some worse hands. Yeah. The button will not really flat the 3 bet, so I think this is good. Do I think having no clock makes a difference for Minko? Yeah, for sure. When you are so short on time bank, it can be very easy to not think something through.
King Queen Ace Deuce suited. Whoa, big hands in the blinds. Suited Ace and King Queen. Is this just a jam? How many blinds? 120, 20 blinds.
I think you would rather raise call or limp with King Queen.
Can't get away now. This is crazy. He's about to potentially get it in bad after versus Romanashka for value. Ace Deuce suited slightly behind. He's just gonna limp fold it. Crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. So King Queen is doing good if your opponent is jamming hands you dominate. If he's only jamming like ace-x and pairs, you just have to fold. So I think Chris decided that Romanashka is probably not jamming like King 10 or King Jack or something like that.
Sevens and queens, top set. Is there a time to check it? Is this the one? Did we have this sort of same situation? Can you give some rope to this man? I don't know. There it is.
I would think so, yeah. But no rope taken. Just snap check. And I think now you probably start betting small. Or no, he wants to bet big. Yeah, I think when he snap checks back the flop, you probably want to go for a smaller sizing to try and target some like 10x or some pocket pairs, which are natural checkbacks. Queen 9 suited opens, and jacks, I think, just go for a 3-bet call here. Yeah.
With the ace queen.
Mm,
5-handed. A lot of action between.
yeah.
Just class. Just 5-handed in the bin. No
Yeah.
problem. Wow.
And
Doesn't
Queen
even
9
think
just
about it.
has to fold. It's not, you want to jam maybe some suited aces, some suited Broadway, some pocket pairs. I think Queen 9 suited is just not good enough to be jamming.
Wow. Queen 9 suited. Sir Watts from the fold. Can he fade? Turn card, clean river card, 6.82% away from a miracle run, and that is going to be a fade. Hello, new chip leader, tied for chip lead almost. I'm sorry, slightly behind Minko. And man, Watson is looking that dinner bet, looking a little better, looking a little better.
It is. Maybe I'm not going to come to Vegas after all.
Yeah, maybe you want to reconsider, check those flights, delay a bit, and that is nasty hand there. Wow, when was the run out? Oh, ace queen for the record would have put Watson on his bike.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, that's talk about a little bit of luck, little butterfly flag sliding doors. This is getting exciting because we have people with no. How much clock? You said it does matter a bit, right? Like how much? How big of a deficit is? Say you give Minko and Sir Watts right now at this stage of the tournament, similar stack, no time bank, basically to some time bank. Is it? How much are we talking about?
Yeah, not sure. Hold on, let's see the all in here because
jacks to 9. This could be 4-handed. Could cue the giveaway. Adrian's here. Everyone's excited. This is a big moment. Jacks to 9s needs help. Needs help fast. Queen on the turn. Club working for the 9s, and it is a queen. Oh, it looked like a jack. Would that have been a straight? So now is a knockout. We're down to 4 giveaways coming.
Yep. Good game for Andy. Yeah, ace-10 flatting here, I'm not a big fan of. I think should just jump pre-flop against the chip leader with like less than 20. Now Minko just checks back, I imagine. Yeah, I guess just checks down. Yeah. Yeah, post-flop I think reasonable, but pre-flop ace-10 should probably just jam.
Holy man, what a oh, let's cue the giveaway. Let's get this rolling. We're at 4-handed. We got 160 people already in the thumbs up, over 1,000 watching, seeing some of the best in the world get it done. Roman Ashka was chip leader. He's still in 4-handed. He's had a roller coaster ride. He also did lose. Sir Watts won the flip ace queen to 8s. Roman Ashka hit a miracle 8 versus queens versus Chris. That was all in on the flop. Queens on 8 or 4. We've had a fair share of action and wild runouts, and these two are battling for clock here. So let's see here. Let's do keyword for $50 GG ticket. That will be, we're going to do WSOP. That is now combined. If you don't know, GG bought WSOP for 500 mil. Just a cool 500 milli. And they are now aligned. And we're going to put that as long as, let's put Alex. Or insert your GGPoker username. That is $50. Giveaway is live. That is live right now. Yeah, we're gonna have to have Mike back on the show again, on the pod. Over there making babies, putting in work right now, and now he is a considerable favorite. I think right in there. Minko, very talented player too, but these guys with the chips gotta be the 2 odds-on favorites. That is the key word in the tweet. We got that wrong. We got giveaways. We got people trying to take. We saw 0 to 4.6 million. Imagine we could do a 50 or 100. That's what the player did, Alex Aziz. Are you familiar with him? I'm sorry, Marcelo Aziz. Are you familiar with his game before he hit that?
Yes. Yes, actually, I am. I used to coach him a few years ago. So, yeah, definitely familiar with him. But again, it was quite a few years ago, obviously unrelated to his win. Okay, you have an interesting hand here. Ace-Jack, C-bet flop. I think decent hand to check back, and then goes for a turn barrel, which I think is okay. And A6 with the ace of clubs, of course, not going anywhere. And I imagine now Ace-Jack just has to check back. You want to have a club to bluff with. I don't think you want to use non-club hands. Yeah, okay.
We got the giveaway live. 50 in there. Must be subscribed. Must hit the thumbs up. See a lot of familiar faces today. Good luck to everyone. Hope you're having a good start to your. This is the third show of the season. So we're going to have 2 seasons in 2025. This is season 1, episode 3 of 2025. The giveaway is going to be fat. They're going to be nice, juicy, exciting. You're going to want to be staying tuned because I'm telling you, I know at least what it is. Could be more, but we'll wait to announce that soon. I'm excited about that. Going to be 2 seasons kind of ending around the World Series in Vegas, and then we'll have another season. But right now, this is the leaderboard we saw at the start of the day where that turns in. Here we go. Ace-Jack, 8-10, open-ended. Minko Romanashka, he has got 8-10 with a... I was going to call it off with the...
Yeah, 10-8 doesn't seem like a check raise on the flop. I think this kind of open-enders, especially on a flush draw board, you just want to call them. Because in a spot like this where your opponent jams, you kind of have to call, but you don't really want to call. So yeah, I think you just want to call your open-ended without a spade.
Wow, and Ace-Jack had the spade, turned a pretty good situation. Minko, that hand seemed a little out of sorts, a little bit wild. He actually was, the straight draw was pure. It was ended up being good. We didn't know it. He did not get it, and now we are 3-way, pretty healthy. Chris was chip leader. He is now your short stack. And
yeah, it's not looking good for me. Not looking good for my fix.
Nope, this is 2 10s. This is things have changed quickly. I got what 7 and 5, 12 mil to about 7. So things are, and Sir Watts, he's cooking right now. He has got gas. He is putting it on. And that fold, what a fold, man. What a fold, and what a is it meant to be? It just might be. He's chip leader 7.5. And Romanashka is start of the day chip leader. He's in the mix, 3 or 4, healthy though. All right, I'm going to pick the winner on Twitter before we get it.
Yeah, now Watson with a big chip lead.
Yeah, 10-3 suited, 5, some reasonable hands, 5 seconds on the shot clock, 6 seconds. And 10-3 suited, Jack, Jack 7.
Yeah, I think just gonna be check folding here.
Fives.
10-3 tanking, which, I mean, doing anything but folding here would be too wide without any sort of suit backup. Ace-Jack, I assume just raise and take it here. But let's see. Alex, with no ICM, what is the worst pocket pair to call a 10 big blind all in? Well, it depends on the positions, right? Which position jams and which position are we in.
All right, Jack.
Romaska just folding Jack 9 suited immediately from the cutoff.
Definitely unconventional, some of the stuff, but again, 3 titles and a lot of experience. It definitely puts pressure, plays big pots, capable of winning. Not going to be going by the
course,
book
yeah.
on certain spots, but
Well, no one has any sort of half playable hand. I guess Baton just opens and wins here.
6, yeah, it does take it down. So sort of a, I mean, still too early to call. 3-way, pretty even though. Top stacks and 2.2 million. Still got almost 20 blinds, 19 blinds there for Chris. Playing play with ace-6, ace-10. This is not a good matchup for Ronashka out of position and out kicked. Does have suited clubs for ace-10.
I think ace-10 just called, yeah. Oh, there we go. Ace-10 just peeling here, I'm pretty sure. I guess 10 just goes check-check, and then River also probably check-check unless it changes something. But let's see. Because again, Romashka has been surprising. Okay, not gonna be check down anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, Mike just kind of constantly, again, calling ahead and getting to rivers, making good decisions. That King 9 in particular, that King Jack, I would have been very curious to see a different run out and what happens there. First, if the player bluffs. Second, if he calls, right? If that river had happened, which we won't know, but that was an interesting hand one I'd like to ask him about.
For sure, yeah.
And yeah, again, it was fun to watch him rocking that Bahamian flag. Bahamas. Are you? What do you think of the WSOP Bahamas overall with the revival? It used to be the PCA. It might have been before your time, and then there were some events there. How many times have you been to the Bahamas?
I've been twice just for the WSOP. I wasn't playing high stakes when the PCA was taking place, and I actually enjoyed quite a bit. I think it's very good. There are a couple of things that could be improved that I've communicated with the team, but overall, very pleasant experience for me.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Atlantis has made some upgrades. Baha Mar is a nice casino there. It's nice. There's 2 good options down there. So, did you get to check out Baha Mar, or you've just been at the Atlantis?
No, just at the resort in Atlantis.
Oh, what? You didn't go stop over there?
Nope, I did not.
Next time, you should. It's close. It's very close to the airport. It's cool. It's like a Vegas style casino, but Atlantis is nice. It's huge property both.
Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. Hope everyone's enjoying their day. Gonna announce the winner here in a second. For the 50, then we'll still have the ticket. 9-7 going to win that one. And we are down, still holding on to those 6-second time. We have 6-7 seconds. 140K big blind is up. Now Chris with less chips, Queen Jack. Nice opening button hand, picks it up.
Yep, no one with a playable hand from the others, so.
Over 2.5 hours. So this is, again, now, just never know how it can go. We are still seeing a 4-handed battle. There will be no deal making. There will be a winner today. This is from Sunday. And every week you can join us here for the GG Millions on 1:15 for the pregame, 1:45 for the live show. And we will play to a winner each time. No deal making. What do you think of that versus deal making? Do you like that there's no option? Is it just because of the purity of the format? What are your thoughts on deal making options at final tables?
I generally prefer to have deal making allowed. I don't see a reason to take it away from the players because if anything, it can just lead to under the table deals and extra steps, I guess. And still, when there's a trophy, people will play for the trophy. So I just don't see a reason to not allow deals, basically. Because let's say I go heads up with someone I know, I can just tell him and we agree to drop anyway, right? Even if we do it off client.
Wow, so 7-8, little bluff there. 8's got counterfeited. Would have been shocking. Right, the 9 came at 10 high. And no clock for Chris now. He's officially hit that point of the tournament where he is clockless. 7-9 suited. Gonna get out of the way. Jack 8, King 3, your 2 chip leaders. All tied, almost exactly.
So how does it work now that he has no time left? Does his hand immediately get folded, or does he get the 5-second countdown thing?
5 seconds per street. Yep.
Okay. See, I always manage my time bank well. I wouldn't know how this works.
Yep, we are in the. He's in the. I have seen a heads up where both have no time banks. Pretty fun, like chess.
Oh,
gets exciting.
We have an all-in here for sure.
Take under this time. No A7. Going to put it on the line. Running hot TBD. Pre-running hot called. Also like your pre-dinner call. Dangerous game to play as the 5, 6, 7 does start well. The Jack of Hearts also safe. Chris, can he hold? Does. Wow.
Although it doesn't really matter for me because both are my picks. So
I think it's probably better for you that they're both in, no? 4 million, 4 million. That seems like more optimal than 8 in a way.
I don't know. When it's winner take all, I guess having one bigger stack is probably better, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, it probably does. I mean, it's the end of the day. Yeah, don't.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm just joking.
Both have a chance here. King Jack though, newfound chips. Does he get involved? He does. Click it up. Minko.
Yep.
Not a hand he's going away with. This time different. He folded the queen earlier, right? Or no, that was a different.
It was Leon, right? Yeah.
Folded. This time though, re-click it back. Chris, no time bank. 3 million chips. Gonna go ahead and give that a rest. Minko back up, gets his chips sort of back right away. 5.3 million.
Yeah, I think standard play from both of them. King Jack, I think very reasonable 3-bet hand.
Loves this min raise out of the small.
Not looking very good for Chris. Queen 3 could 3-bet occasionally.
Queen, deuce, king 9, king jack suited. Another good spot for Chris. Moments. Gonna limp.
King Jack suited, I think, very reasonable hand to isolate here. Your main concern of not isolating is that your opponent might limp jam a6, but in this scenario, your opponent is going to open jam his offsuit a6 anyway. So then you can just isolate King Jack suited very comfortably. Because you won't face limp jams from this kind of like ace3 off or whatever. Okay, and I imagine now it just gets checked down, but let's see.
Seems like it's close to get one more bet in, but
another bet. Yeah, I think this is a bit too thin from Chris on the turn. I think you want to stick to mainly betting good a6. But okay, he gets called and it's a chop.
Yeah, unlucky. Nice bet on the turn. Didn't get to get that pot his way. Got the chop. Important one. Pretty open here. Wide open.
Yeah, now the stack's way more even among our 4 players.
Nines, fives.
I think 9's decent spot to 3-bet call. Jam also reasonable. Yeah, sure.
2 seconds, Minko on the clock. Gonna get rid of it.
No real decision for him with pocket 5s. I don't think you can call for like 26 blinds, whatever this is. Oh, okay. This one could turn ugly for Chris. Oh, no, not anymore. Romaska with the snap, huge sizing 3-bet. I think in this spot, if Romaska like takes his time and goes smaller, there is a chance that Chris does something. But I think when it's like snap, huge sizing, It's just not gonna get that much action.
Eight's 2 seconds. Good hands here.
Just flatting, I imagine. And 6 is probably folding. Yeah, I think. I think it's probably a bit too thin to jam, and 8s I think have to call. Let's see. No, he gets pocket 8s to fold. Okay, that's nice.
I would not have thought he shoved or I would have thought he called, but maybe jamming's even better than calling somehow. But it's just shallow enough to.
Yeah, I mean, if you fold out pocket 8s with 6s, then it has to be a good jam. But I think you're probably not supposed to jam 6s there. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just talking off the top of my head. I don't have access to the solutions yet. Oh, this could turn ugly. Club one time for Team Alex.
That would hurt. We have double 0 shot clocks, and we have flush draw potential. 7 high draw. 5 or 7 puts into the lead. Club is nasty. 3 or 4 opens up additional outs. 6 or 8. A lot of things there. Oh, hello. Little extra possible. 3, 5, 7, 9 club.
Yep. I imagine King 10 just checks back a lot now. Oof. 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 Oof.
Yikes.
That's dirty.
Have you heard of In-N-Out in Vegas? In-N-Out burger?
Yes.
Good too. We could maybe about that.
Is that where we're going?
I don't know. It depends. Like, no, Steve, the Wynn Steakhouse is on the display. I think that's fair. But let's see if Sir Watts can get away from this. So big bet now. Whoa.
Yeah, and I imagine Minko just jams and. Oh, okay, doesn't jam. The thing is, with almost zero time bank, finding many bluffs here,
yeah,
is not that easy. I mean, sure, you can find out some stuff. Like, let's say you have the ace of clubs; it's a reasonable bluffing hand. But it can be tough to decide exactly what to bluff, whereas all your value will be super obvious. So I think that's something to take into account. Of course, I'm not saying that Minko wouldn't find them.
Wow. I was thinking he could maybe fold somehow, even though it's a ridiculous thought. Yeah, I somehow thought he might, but wow. So 8 down to 1.8 now. Nice hand. Minko does get it in. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. I guess that's honestly four-handed flush over flush, and that spot is a bit just kind of.
But one counter argument that maybe Watson thought is that, okay, sure, he doesn't have enough time, but some player profiles might then go over to over bluffing instead of not bluffing enough. And let's say you take every single ace of clubs that you have and bluff with it. So it could go from not finding enough bluffs to having too many bluffs and be very player dependent.
Yeah, also four-handed and heads up pot there, blind with a flush over flush is pretty sick.
Yeah, but of course, like very big cooler, right? To just have this flush over flush. Trying to find reasons to fold or anything is just, yeah.
Also now, I mean, he's down to 12 blinds, 280, 140, 13 blinds right there. And you can see upper left, 4 hands will be going up as well. Blinds will be going up. 180 of you have hit the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Over 1,000 watching. You are eligible if you are subscribed and hit the thumbs up for that. And the winner of the tweet is getting done. And we're going to see a winner today. Don't worry about that. Someone's asking, it does finish today. This is from Sunday. Pause at the final table. And then the winner is announced. So this is Sir Watts back to 2 mil. We're cut out. Chris up to 3.7. 2 players, 0 shot clock. Roman Ashka in the mix. We got a little everything for you today. This is a lot of action for sure.
We should be seeing an all-in here, I guess. Romaska jam. Nope, min raises. Never mind. And ace-jack, I think, just gonna jam. And I will not try to predict what Romaska will do. Okay, he goes for the fold. Yeah, I think 3-5 suited is just supposed to jam there. It has decent equity when called. I can make straights, you know, flush, all these kind of things. This hand seems pretty standard so far. Queen 8 betting the turn seems a bit thin, but you have the flush, so it's what can go wrong. And 10-5 just has to fold.
Yep, picks it up over 5.5 now. So he is in second, Romanashka. He's had a wild ride. 8160 blinds up, A7 suited button 10s for Romanashka and Sir Watts. I mean, honestly, Romanashka plays a pretty sturdy brand here. He doesn't really seem to open too much. He's passing Jack 9 suited. He's passing different hands. Watts going to step into it all in. Is going to get called. He is behind. Can he pull a rabbit out of the hat versus the start of the day chip leader? 2 aces there. Needs to fade the 10-10 only, or we will be 4-way in a new affair of chip stacks as we see it. That is done. Sir Watts, hey, he ran well in spots. He made great folds all day, and he is now in it in second. And this has been a crazy four-handed affair. Hope you are ready with your popcorn, because this is wide open. We got fast play, 0 shot clock coming on. We are down to a all-in, or I mean, this is it. There's nothing else to do. There's no deal making. You gotta. This is it. These are who's going to win. One of these 4 players, and we will maybe see a new champion. We may see a repeat. Actually, 3 of the 4 have won titles before, according to my notes.
This could prove dangerous for Romashka. He likes jamming, so maybe he just jams here. Nope, he calls. Let's see. Okay, I guess he's gonna fold now.
A tough hand for Romanashka. He would have been with over 7 million, 3-handed. Completely different situation. Gonna announce that first $50 ticket here. Getting the draw. Nice. Gonna shoot it up heavily. All right,
Not too
$100
many
ticket
action
to be
hands
announced soon. Yeah, this
in
is
this four-handed, but
9 mil, 6-9, Queen 8, 6-9 out flops, Queen 7 off the computer hand in heads up poker. If you're playing in a heads up match, that is the dead middling hand. A lot of nicknames for hands out there. How's poker doing in Greece right now? Is it popular? Is it live, more action? Are people playing online a lot? What's the landscape there?
so I wouldn't know much because I don't live in Greece, but I think online isn't doing that well. GG is not allowed in Greece, and PokerStars has some absurd taxation system. So I think it's mostly centered around the live scene. Most of the professionals have left Greece.
Got
it. Okay, Queen 8 check calls flop looks reasonable. Is 6-9 gonna go for a value bet on the river? I think probably yes. Maybe half pot or something. Yep. And Queen 8, I think just folding. Again, you can call like Queen 10. You can call some ace highs. I think having the 8 is not ideal. Yeah.
He's king, Romanashka.
Yeah, but no
Sub
takers
20.
for the action.
Gonna go a little more meat on it. This has really had everything. You called it the start of the day. Just had a feeling we are gonna see some interesting things, and we have seen that.
Mm-hmm. Five, 8, I think is a bit too wide of an open here. Like, sure, you're the chip leader, but I don't think you can open like 100%. But maybe I'm wrong. King 9, I think reasonable opening hand. Near the bottom probably of what he opened, but good enough. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, here potentially action. Ace-10 suited opens, kings have to 3-bet. And then Ace-10 suited, I think you probably have to jam it here. It's not amazing, but I think you probably have to go.
Yeah, kings, ace 10 suited. Yeah, I mean, this is big hands.
Yeah.
And Chris.
I don't think you want to be calling much at this stack size. And Ace-10 suited. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Lot of chips, 7.2, possible knockout. Chris behind. He has been all over the map. It is not a good flop for him. Needs some runners or an ace. There is the king. Needs a queen now. Turns 4 outs, although top set for Mike. Can he hit it? No paint, no chance there. Chris Nguyen, great game, 4th place, nice score. Not going to get his title. Big payout though, and now we're guaranteed 239 for our remaining 3. Roman Ashka finds his way to the podium after some, different things happening all over the place, and he's got a big chip deficit. Minko in the lead, and Watson in striking distance, and very, very interesting match now. Looking like a heads up between Watson and Minko, but still a lot of poker play. Can get that $100 ticket going. Drop in. I'm going to see some new people chatting, so there is a chance for this. Well,
interesting pot brewing here. Queen 3 suited raised pre-flop, c-bet the flop. I think you have to bet the turn with your gut shot now. Yeah. And you probably have to jam river because you don't have a diamond. You block the straight, you block king queen. I guess you have to jam in theory, and king deuce should be just a snap call here.
Does it?
Okay. Not looking good for me. In and out it is.
Wide open though. 7 mil, still 7 million to 12, right? It's not crazy. Roman Ashka is a wild card, but yeah, you got a little bit of work cut out. Roman Ashka now a6 suited, actually blind on blind versus queens. Going to come in for the min rate. Where do you think he comes? Is this just his strategy? Like, where does this particular, just so unconventional? And he plays a lot and he has good results. It just doesn't seem like a typical bet size. Talk to me about that. What his sort of thought process is with that, do you think?
Good question. He likes it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's a very effective strategy, but it can definitely throw people off and make them misjudge your range and maybe misplay against you, but I don't think it's the highest EV option. Okay, this is not looking good for Romashka.
No, this could just be all in, right? Based on how
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Seems pretty much likely. Similar to that 8-4-4 flop against queens, almost identical. This time he does have 5 outs, and goes half pot to Mike here. See if he's just gonna do that.
Going to be a very big all in. Okay, he doesn't jam, but I don't think he can fold. Like a6, this is the hand you have to stack off here.
Yeah, this is no way out, I don't think. Just calls, river, scary, not really, sort of innocuous 10. And this is pretty much curtains. Mike has to love this. He might be a little worried, even though sometimes he jams like if he thought he had a6, he might jam. So he might be thinking, what could he have? But at the end of the day, you got queens, it's heads up, and you feel good. And there it is, all in. Roman Ashka maybe taking a little longer. This is when he is actually first tournament life. Friend of GG. And he does fold. Wow.
That's good. Good for him. I guess he decided that Watson will not bluff for such a small percentage of the pot left. So very nice.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was not expecting him to get away from the hand either, especially on a run out like this. Okay, this Jack 3, I don't think it is approved. You can 3-bet some blockers, but like some King X, some Ace X. Jack 3 is a bit aggressive.
All right, there you go. $100
I think-
GG Poker ticket. Keyword GGWSOP space giveaway space enter your GG Poker username. If you do not have a GG Poker account, maybe a friend does. Maybe you give it to them, you gift it, you give them a piece of it. But that is how you enter for the 100. That is underway. We're gonna get that loaded up. Remember to hit that thumbs up and be subscribed. And best of luck. That will be our last giveaway for today. We are gonna play to a winner. Sir Watts with 13 million. All of a sudden, this is looking spicy. Looking spicy right now as Minko has Jack 3 of hearts and gonna give it up. What did he just fold? I didn't see it. I thought we have 6 what there. I didn't see what Romanowski just folded.
I didn't see either, but it wasn't a very interesting hand. I think it was just garbage. Yeah, 6-8 off.
4 gets it done. Now 3-4 suited, Jack 5 suited. Does he want to pressure?
I imagine jam and fold. Yep.
Well, everything working for Watts.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. So with pocket fives here, I think you just want to be calling. I don't think you want to jam fives. Yep, that looks good.
Tell me why you wouldn't want to jam there.
Right, so you can expect the other big stack to have some jams, so then and some limps maybe, so then the raising range will just be fairly polar, so you don't really want to jam a hand like pocket pairs, which will be either like dominated way behind, or you will flop some, you will fold some like king 3 off or whatever. And it also plays pretty well in position, and so you mainly just want to be calling your pocket pairs.
With the bet, pick it up, gets it done.
Mm-hmm.
Romanowski, a little bit of a free roll after that A6 queens in a way. 3 left. You can see the jump here about 65,000, almost 66,000. So big jump here, and then we'll play for about 85,000 for the heads up match. Mm-hmm. And 2 5s, 12.5, 160 big blind. Does go ahead.
Yep, here are the jumps I was talking about. We can see it in action.
Down.
Mm-hmm.
Queen 4 7 4. Queen 4 in the small. He does.
I assume just the raise, non all in.
Yep. Puts a little meat on it, a little less than 3x.
And 7-4 just calling, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. So far, so good. We're on the right track.
Queen 4 7 4 7 hits a 7. Healthily
So
in the
Queen 4 opts to check. I think A6 7 is probably not a range bet board for you from the small blind here, but I think Queen 4 has decent properties with like 1 overcard to the 6 and the 7 and the backdoor straight. But Queen 5, Queen 8 would be better c-bets for sure.
Lines are 1 2.
Oh no! Oh, that's not fair. Oh, come on.
Romanowski. This is out there as one of the 6. I mean, 3-handed aces at kings. I even can't remember the last time we saw aces to kings in full ring here, but this is just insane. This is absolutely insane. Wow. And Romanowski potentially going to get a 66K pay jump. Potentially, I mean, unless a king comes, there's no way the money's not going in here. And this is looking like Steve Wynn. I'm pulling up the menu for see if any changes have been made. This is looking dicey for you. You need lightning. You need a king. You need help. And this could be Watson. After that fold, you told me you would have folded Jack 8. You can't believe now here he has aces to kings to basically cement this. cemented aces to kings.
Yeah.
It is a 10-9 deuce. Needs jack or queen for a sweat. Now needs a king only, or we're going to see Roman Ashka try to take down 18-1 chip deficit. That's it. Minko, GG.
Yeah,
GG, and we have the giveaway to do. We got a lot of action right now. That is a lot. I got to pick the winner, and just in case, because this could be over in a hand. This could easily be over in a hand. And let me get the $100 winner out. Wow, there it is. 18 mil, king 4.
It is over for sure.
Here.
Well, not over, but it's only. Oh, what? Okay, never mind.
Hold on a sec.
I thought he would always jam king 4 for 5 big blinds, but he keeps on surprising me even now. Okay, let's see.
There we go. 10-8 ahead. A6. Can he make it a game, or is 10-8 just going to run it down? No, there is needs runners. Oh, hold on. He's got the clubs. It doesn't pair the board. Could this be it? Just like that? It is
not.
No, not. That would have been too wild. We are seeing a heads-up match. It's going to continue. King deuce suited to 9s. Don't look now, Alex. 2 mil, 10 blinds. King deuce suited. Does Mike want to put it in here with the suited king? I mean, couldn't blame him. Couldn't blame him. He does call. He's going to see he's behind. He's got hearts. He's got deuce. He's got, there's one deuce. Needs a king. Needs some hearts. Queen. No. River. King or a deuce.
It's a king? Yeah.
Bang. Sir Watts gets his 3rd title on the GGMillion. It says 1 now. The notes said 2, so actually it could be a first-time winner. Our notes show that he has won 2 times, but actually he messaged me on the side, told me it was his first win. So I don't know if they changed on the fly or got some wrong info, but either way, Mr. Watson, been on the pod, friend of mine, friend of my wife, went to his wedding actually in Greece. I went to his wedding in Greece, matter of fact, about a couple of years ago. So yeah, man, we're amazing. He won a dinner for me over here. I can't wait to get to know you better and take a dinner with you in Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. I will remember. Don't worry.
I love it. Tell me about the takeaways today. What stood out for you? You said it was going to be an action-packed final table. Anything shock you, or was this pretty much what you expected?
Yeah, I think the action did not disappoint. We had so many big hands and so many unorthodox plays. Very commendable fold with Jack 8 from the winner, the eventual winner. And yeah, just a very fun, entertaining final table. I really enjoyed doing this.
Couldn't agree more. Want to remind everyone, you can see the highlights if you want to catch it on my YouTube channel, Jeff Goes Poker. I do a knockout video with just a knockout, so obviously love having you here. If you ever miss it or you just want to revisit some of those, that will be there. And there's a look at the odds. So 6.58 to 1 if you wagered. For every 100, you would win 658. There it is. That was how it played out. 3rd place, Vladimir Minko made a little bit of a sweat for the viewers with 11-1 underdog. He came in, had a chip lead at one point. Crystalline also battled hard. Very well played. I was impressed all around and really got a special treat to our 3rd episode of the first season of 2025. We will be having another show next week. Big guest as usual. You can expect that. And then again, you just got to believe the biggest names in the game are there battling this. We like to call it the Champions League of Poker. And Alex, you're natural for commentating. You can give him a follow on Instagram, please. We have that. You can put that in the chat before you leave there as well. And also, we do have him tagged on my Instagram and Twitter. It is there. You can see where to follow you. And again, you do coaching, you do one-on-ones, and also let everyone know where they can watch your videos and which platform you use the most.
Yeah, Run It Once is where I make videos, and then CNC and BBC is where I have my seminars. But yeah, I post about my coachings on Instagram, so if you give me a follow there and keep an eye out, you will know. Thank you very much for having me, Jeff. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to meeting you in Vegas.
Awesome, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. We'll see you next week. Big year coming. A lot of changes, a lot of giveaways for you guys. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Much love, and congrats to all the winners in the giveaways. We will see you next week.